something for myself. Your birthday, we got another good 2 months.
I think you want one of those TVs for your birthday. I mean, for Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So she's back on the stand, you guys. She gives very, very dry, liarous testimony. Okay, I'm just messing with you, Reese. I made up a word, liarous. No one's laughing? Okay. I thought it was funny. Too upgraded for me. Diddy guilty of a... What'd you say?
It's the view for me. What's that guy you like?
But are you really talking about Alvo now? You better leave my Alvo alone. I am obsessed, you guys, with Alvo and what's his partner name or ex-partner?
Oh shit.
Shamar. I watch Alvo and Shamar every day. All day long.
You got the one guy. It's the view for me, and then the other one over there standing like this.
No.
They be going at it too, making each other jealous and shit.
I just want to remind y'all, I do not think like my husband. I'm my own person. I'm my own person. Okay.
Where the love go?
Too much.
Okay.
I had to throw your ass under the bus. No.
Let's get back to this shit now. I mean, this got to heat up somewhere. And after all this, the cross got to get down to the, down to the red meat on this now.
They're laughing at you.
You can't be nice. You got to just go at it.
You should apologize before we get in trouble.
Apologize for what?
You know what you just did.
Down to the red meat.
It's the view for me.
It's the view for me. Well, no, I mean, no, the guy.
Harry, don't do it again.
Well, I apologize. I don't mean that way. I'm just saying, sometimes people will act a certain way and do certain things just for the money. So I'm not sure if it's an actual effect. No.
What? Harry, apologize to Shamar. Apologize. Shamar, we are sorry. We're not like that. We love you. We think you're great. We love you with Alvo. Y'all need to work it out.
I think he's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Coco, for becoming a member. Oh my God. Perry, don't. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I can't do it. You go in front of the camera every day and do it.
Just don't do it.
How can that make sense?
Perry, don't do it.
I was advertising for him. Free.
Perry, no. You can't do that. Okay. You can't do it.
All right, okay.
You can't help that. Stop.
Let's get back to the situation, man.
Can't believe you just...
Don't they gotta dance?
Perry.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, why are you making me feel guilty about something they fussing about every day?
You know what you did. Don't do that no more, please. We love them. We love them both.
Yeah.
No, we hope y'all get back together because it's sheer comedy. I
don't have a problem with these guys.
Don't miss Henchmark, please don't make it worse. I cannot believe
to keep my wife smiling. So yeah.
So I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at the fact that you are gonna get cussed out. That's what I'm laughing at. You don't do that. You don't do that. I love you, Shamar. You're the best. I love you. Child.
What's the problem?
Perry.
Who's gonna get cursed out?
You by Shamar.
I don't give a shit about that. Come on,
Perry,
I ain't got time.
Perry, come on, would you stop? God damn.
I'm waiting on an update, Sharrell, so we can move on.
All right, let's move on.
It is Father's Day. I got to start figuring out something. What I want.
Child, he's a mess. Dad, please.
My feet up.
Please, y'all leave. He is a mess.
All day long, my feet up.
I don't care if there was a dance.
Can you buy yourself an apron for Father's Day so you can wear it? Like, one thing I am getting out of this trial.
You want a green wig and 7-inch high heels.
We gonna role play on Father's Day.
Perry, stop playing. We're not Perry, what is wrong with you? That's not funny. That's what's going on. Perry, stop. You're making fun of the case. It's not funny. Okay. I'm not role playing. I'm not wearing a green wig and all that craziness.
That's not an insult to the people who like it. A lot of people into that craft.
Like who, Perry?
I don't know. A lot of people dress up in Pampers. Some of them don't have pacifiers in their mouth. I know cops and robbers.
He's lying. You know, he doesn't know nobody who does that. He's lying.
You just showed me a guy that was getting walked like a dog with a dog collar on.
That's 4. And hold on. Garrigo says, after Cassie's lawsuit went public, how were things? She said, I came to find out that another woman had the same experiences I had. I put out that energy on him and he was already down. So resentment, period. Everything was hard. She says, a hard month. She says, yes. Listen, I appreciate Tenny Garrigo's father. I like Mark Garrigos. I'm not appreciating Tenny's questioning. I want Westmoreland back, Brian Steele back, and my favorite is Mark because he talks calm and like you guys are having a conversation, and then boom with the whammy. Tenny, I don't know how new you are. Your father's here, right behind you. You gotta spruce it up. You're putting us to sleep.
Oh,
she's got to spruce it up. No, and no shade, just some good unwanted advice. So, child, please, you put me to sleep.
You got to get aggressive with.
Yeah,
I wish Westmoreland was on it.
Yeah,
were you enjoying that freak off? Why did you return the next day?
Yeah, that's what I need. Come on.
Did you receive a bill for your rent the following month? Who paid that?
Child.
Where did you buy your 7-inch heels from?
So I'm gonna ask a question. This is a serious question. Okay. I'm not being funny. I want to know, would you sleep with Diddy? Hold on, I got an update. Hold on. Jane is now on the stand for the first time today. The jury is in, and defense attorney Tenny Garrigos is continuing her cross. That came from CNN. And let me make sure there's none on here. Let's just get to it, because let's just get to it. Okay, Reese, you're worried about the victim. Let's just put y'all in the victim's shoes. I need to know right now.
Somebody wants you to do another poll. Princess wants you to do another poll.
Yeah, I am. But will you sleep? Let me bring it with Diddy if he gave you $10,000 a month?
Matter of fact,
would you? No. Not. Would you be at the freak off?
Would you just sleep with him, or be at the freak off for just $10,000? Shit, bills will be ringing.
Perry, you said your number is 5,000, right? All you gotta do is pay you $5,000 a month, and you go to freak off.
Okay, now what? 5,000 for me to sleep with somebody?
Diddy.
Oh no, not a guy. I would no. But he just filming it.
Huh?
He's just filming it though. So you saying like, okay. Let's just say this. Like, are you asking me, could I have slept with Jane if I was the entertainer, right? Would I entertain it? If all her, tests came back clean and all that, and you gave me permission, probably. You know what I'm saying?
He tried to clean it up and said if I gave him permission. Perry, and you don't use protection. Remember that.
I said if all her tests was clean. I need to know this. I need to know. I mean, we can't have no phone coming out, no shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's so bad.
Google butt.
I said stop talking about Shamar and Alva. Stop.
I like that. I like when he
You got an update here. Garrigo says, let's play the voice note. Then parentheses, it says Sean Combs' voice. I don't want to be in a relationship like this. I don't want to make anyone feel like this. Let's end this cycle so you don't feel like I wasted your life. Garrigo's, are these more messages? Are there more messages like this? She said, yes. Come on, y'all, listen.
I don't want you to keep crying.
He just told her, huh?
Yeah, I don't want you to keep crying every week. Let's just end this thing so you don't feel like I'm keep wasting your time. That's what he's saying to her. And she said ain't the first message, but he was playing her emotions.
Okay, the results are in. 77% of y'all said y'all wouldn't sleep with Diddy. Perry must feel cheap right now.
Huh? No. The question is, hold on. What was the question? Diddy?
Would you sleep with Diddy for 10K? And you said you would sleep with a female for 5K if she had a positive STI.
Yeah, I mean, I can't be having all that stuff when they tell me I got a UVI, this and bumps in the mouth, shit like that. No.
Oh God, Perry.
I can't roll like that now.
Not bumps in the mouth.
I don't got jungle fever.
Let's move on. Oh my God. So I'm gonna reread this so it stays fresh in our mind. Let's play the voice note. And then it says, Sean Combs' voice. I don't want to be in a relationship like this. I don't want to make you feel like this. Let's end this cycle so you don't feel like I wasted your life. He's saying, if you feel that I'm pressuring you and you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. Let's end it. Let me screenshot this right now because I'm going to need this. He's telling her, I don't want to treat you like that. I don't want to be in a relationship where you don't want to do it too. Now, come on.
He said in his Lionel Richie voice, sail on. That's what he told her. If you don't feel like this, and he was actually showing compassion to her. I understand that you've been feeling this way, a little upset, that you want to spend more time with me than the entertainers, but you know why you're here. But I understand if you want more time, I can't give you because I got to go down and see Young Miami. So I'm not gonna waste your time. You know, I'll cover your bill for the next 3 months.
I see why.
Adios, amigos.
The chat is a mess. The chat. We've lost control. He is messing with her now. Diddy is an OG player, but he's giving her an out. And if she wants to get out, she should have took it. Here we go. Garrigo says, does Sean often say to you, I'm a solutions person. I just want solutions. She says, yes. Garrigo's, you wrote, I tolerated, comma, I took on a lot in those rooms, comma, please don't discredit me. And he wrote, never discredited you. She said, yes.
He gave her credit for her performance.
Well, listen. No escort should be questioning you this hard. She wanted to be the main chick. She knew what the relationship was about because he told her this is an open relationship.
She told you that when she first got with him. She gave her story that, yeah, he told me this. I don't mind you having seeing other women. I'm fine with that. I mean, hell, look at me. I don't have much morals. I'm sleeping with you tonight, even though you with my girlfriend.
Garrigo says, you wrote that you wanted 100K for each wasted here and more. 450K you wrote. You wrote this, right? She said yes. And you said you were thinking of hurting yourself, and he didn't say don't. He cared, cut off, And then it says, I don't know about that. Let me read this again because this could be very crucial. This is Garagos. She says, you wrote that you wanted $100,000 for each wasted here and more. 450K, you wrote, then 450K, comma, you wrote this, right? And she says, yes. What does this mean? You wrote you wanted 100K for each wasted here. What does that mean?
Oh, you know what though? I think his year.
Instead of a here, you meant year?
Yeah.
She's asking Diddy, let me repeat this. Garagos, you wrote that you wanted 100K for each wasted, and maybe she meant year.
Yeah.
And $450,000 you wrote. $450,000, comma. You wrote this, right? She's asking him for money to break up.
She wanted reparations, basically.
For all the times that she felt that he forced her.
Years. She stayed with him 3 years. She's saying, look, damn it. You wasted my time. I want reparations. I want 100,000 per wasted year. If I wasted 3 years, I want 300,000. That's what it sounded like to me.
Okay. Well, I don't understand that statement.
Somebody just said,
why should he pay you money to back up, huh?
That's extortion on her part for all these people who read these fine prints. Where we said it. Would that be
Harry, you gonna leave Reese alone? You're gonna do it today. Leave her alone.
Oh, would that be considered extortion on her part?
She's asking for money. She said, like, I wasted this time with you, and I need 100K to 450K. I'm confused. We got to hear more. Why would you ask for money to break up? I'm confused. We got to hurry. Oh, here we got to update. Garrigle says, you said you didn't have friends at the time. Objection. Garrigles, I can rephrase. You said you talked about your feelings with Sean because you didn't have other people. She said, okay. Garrigles, Sean still paid your rent. She said, yes. I want to go back to that 100K and 450,000K. I'm confused as to what that meant. So I have to get an answer to that when they go on break. Because I'm really confused.
It says this, Sharrell. Girl host is talking to her, Jane. You wrote you wanted 100,000 for each wasted year. She could only be talking about their relationship, the years she invested in the relationship.
Right? Is she out her mind?
Because she wasn't asking for every year she was on Earth because she came into the relationship when she was 35. I know she ain't asking, 100,000.
Is she serious? Do you really think she expects 100K to 450K for each year she supposedly wasted?
Yes. She said it the other day in trial. Was it yesterday? You know how much my body's worth? Remember her saying that?
Yeah, I'm laughing at Miss Alfonso. She said she should be charged with a RICO.
Right. No, that's my point.
But no, I'm serious, y'all. Like, where is she going with this? Does she really expect him to give her money for her wasted years? How the years wasted?
Sharrell, she went. This is the thing she texted and wrote down. She wasn't doing it for her health.
Right.
If she put on 7-inch heels and would go 12 to 18 hours for $10,000 a month, she'd do anything.
Yeah, that's not a good look. I don't know what you're doing. That's not a good look. Here we go. We got an update. Garrigle says, the 9K from Bear, you had known him from your modeling days. Bear gave her $9,000. Let's keep going. The 9K that Bear, the 9K from Bear, you had known him from your modeling days. She said, yes. Garagos, did you have to do any work for the 9K? She said, no. Garagos, the rapper you mentioned, he was close with Mr. Combs. She said yes. And then it says that there's a video playing that we can't see and without sound. So they're bringing in 50 Cent again. Now, remember, the judge told them not to mention his name. Now, the rapper that you mentioned, if I was on the jury, I still wouldn't figure it out that was 50 Cent. I probably wouldn't have figured that out if I didn't know who 50 Cent. Is there anyone who doesn't know who 50 Cent is? Because they can see her face.
The people from the jury went and dug out of a cave. You know who Leonard Skinner is, AC/DC, all these different things, whether you was into that genre or not.
I'm just wondering if the jury knows who she is, and if they know who she is, they would know who 50 Cent is, and they would know that he's worth so much money. It's unbelievable, huh?
See what Beatrice just said?
Why don't they get this nutcase off the stand? I don't know. This is not looking good for her. I'm still wondering why she asked him for $100K to $950,000 for each year she wasted with him.
Well, I mean, people think their body is worth this. You had all this, child, all this. You wasted my time and you need to pay me.
But is she serious?
Yes, that's the part. She ain't joking about this, Sharrell. This is a serious case.
You think she really expects him to give her that much money?
Well, she's seriously upset that she thought that one girl got a more expensive purse than she did.
It just doesn't make sense to me right now.
Look, she got that I look good privilege. And that's what she wants. She said she ain't dating no broke ninjas. She only date wealthy men.
No.
She only service wealthy men.
We got an update. She says, this rapper, they will record together. He's also an icon in the industry. She said, yes. Attorney, you went to the birthday with the rapper's wife or girlfriend. Did you know Anton traveled with them? She said, yes. Attorney, and Mr. Combs knew? She said, yes. They're not hinting at 50 Cent. They're hinting at Rick Ross, that birthday party that they went to in Vegas.
So Pound for Pound says, Sharrell and Perry, are these women just gold diggers, including Cassie? Why, yes. Why, yes. All three of them. He just put too many hands on Cassie. But all three of them was gold diggers. And maybe even the assistant was a gold digger too. The one that was lying, that she forced labor. The one who forced herself to sleep with Cassie's man. You know what I'm talking about? What was that assistant name? The assistant that said she stayed up 5 days straight.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then she just happened to be touched by Diddy.
But listen to this. I'm going to read this again. It says, this rapper, they called him an icon in the business. They want you to know that he is very wealthy. Do you guys think this will have the same effect as mentioning 50 or Rick Ross or Drake? They will get the idea that these are big time men. Don't you think, Perry? By calling him an icon. Will the jury pick up on that?
The jury ain't stupid.
Okay. Good.
I mean, everybody got internet.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah. Here we go. We got an update. He says, when Anton was having sex with the woman, who many people were in the room. How many people were in the room? She says, 7 or 8, just watching. Garrett goes, the rapper was flirting with you. She said, yes. Okay, they're trying to send a signal to the jury about how she was with other high profile men. Will it still have the same effect without knowing the specific rappers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, are we assuming that people they pick just 12 dumbass people? Lil Boozy said it best. They get the message. Loose as a goose. Loose as a goose. Could you see me walking?
Loose as a goose. Don't get me started. That's first
Don't
of
get
all.
me started.
And who in their right mind quotes Little Boozy?
Hers ain't like this, Sharrell. Hers like more like that.
Harry. What is wrong with you? Nobody wants to see all that. Okay, you are not 50 Cent. Nobody wants to see all that. Here we go. We got an update. Garrigo says, you flashed your breasts to the room. Who asked you to do it? She says, it was just the moment. Garrigo's, what did the rapper say to you? She says, that he had always wanted to blank me. Garrigo's, so he had a crush on you? She said, yes. Ay. This is...
Ay.
Girl.
Boy, he's 3 or 4 these days.
Oh my God. And I am, and let me have my own opinion, you guys. I don't think Rick Ross is attractive in any kind of way. Even if he was standing naked with $1 million in his hand, you still not attractive.
You just trying to find a way to run past and snatch it and run.
I would have to break in his house at night to get the money. I am not Rick Ross. What was wrong with Tia?
Yeah, well. A lot of people don't like to get up and go to work in the morning. From 9 to 5, 8 to 4. I mean,
Rick Ross lose a significant amount of weight and he still look bad.
They probably figured They probably figured with Rick Ross it wasn't gonna take long.
Rick Ross is just, I don't like him. I like his music. That's it. I don't like him at all. I just think he's, oh my God, he's just, I don't like him. And his music is good. And he made the anthem, Every Day I'm Hustling. That has to be the best song ever. Yeah, love that song. But besides that, he's disgusting. Sometimes I wish he would perform the song with a bag over his head. I can't stand Rick Ross. The way he acts, the way he looks.
But Sharrell, be honest.
We got an update.
Okay.
Garrigo says, how did you bring up Cabral? And then in parentheses, it says Sly. She said, they asked if I knew anyone else in the lifestyle. I said, yes. At the time, I thought Cabral, and they met was as safe and confidential person. Garrigos, that was the rapper and his party, right? That was for the rapper and his party. So let me read this again because
partner, the rapper and his partner.
Let me read it again. How did you bring up Cabral? Parentheses Sly. She says, they asked if I knew anyone else in the lifestyle. The word lifestyle bothers me. What kind of lifestyle is she talking about? If I knew anyone in the lifestyle, I said yes. At that time, I thought Cabral was safe and was a safe and confidential person. What is she talking about? She's talking about that they could hook up and do all the things and that they do, and he wouldn't say nothing and probably join in. Garrigos, that was for the rapper and his partner. She said yes. She slept with Cabral for another group of people that didn't include Diddy.
And didn't you say 8 people was watching?
She said 8 people were watching.
There's approximately 8 people watching. They know anybody else with this lifestyle? That lifestyle mean whore.
Oh God. She joined in another group thing. They were asking her to pick somebody out so they can do it. No, girl, no.
She don't care about the location, who is with. She just want the money.
She need to go home. Get off the stand. She probably tried to go home and they wouldn't let her. Get off the stand.
Now she don't went international on us, I think.
You are becoming more discreditable every day. We got to update. Garrigo said, how did they know to ask you? She said, maybe they just picked up the energy or heard that Sean and I were into the lifestyle. Garrigos, you flew to Miami around the time of your birthday. She said, yes. Garrigos, he set up a grandiose birthday for you. She said, yes. What lifestyle? See the word lifestyle right now is what's going to make her look like the escort that she is. What kind of lifestyle are you talking about? First of all, I go to parties without Perry. Ain't nobody ask me, hey, are you on the lifestyle? I would say, what lifestyle are you talking about? You must mean Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. You're not talking about the lifestyle. I've only heard that from swingers.
But it's
I'm trying to be rude to her. I'm trying to keep it cool and respectful.
And she said, they probably just heard about me and Sean being in that lifestyle. She's admitting to being in the lifestyle. She's admitting that, hey, ain't no sweat off my back. I just need that cash in my purse.
I think this is the first day she used the word lifestyle, right, Perry?
Yeah, I ain't never heard it before. I learned something new. I don't learn what a 304 is.
And she said
lifestyle.
And they said, how did they know to ask you? Ask you what? Child, you over there having freak offs without Diddy. You cannot claim victim anymore.
Well, I mean, she still got her supporters out there now. I ain't gonna mention no name.
Please leave her alone. Here we go. We got to update. Garrigo says, were there candles on the walkway? She said it was very romantic. They're talking about in Miami now. Were there candles on the walkway? She said it was very romantic. His heart was beating. Garrigo, was your heart beating as well? She said yes. I was just about to say that. It's all painted pink and silver. A 5-course dinner. What I wanted from my lover. Oh my
that's sweet. That is so sweet.
Oh. First of all, okay, they say that I want Diddy off the hook. You are treating your paid escort. You are blurring the line, sir, and giving her mixed signals. Like you will really take her serious. I'm confused. Why is Diddy doing what he's doing?
It's control. And he just enjoyed watching this kind of stuff. I'm saying like.
Oh, no. He's gearing her up. Okay, we're going to see. She's going to do it again. Watch. Here, we got
that ain't going to jump out the closet.
Garrigo says, no ecstasy at dinner? She said, no, none. Garrigo, after you took a pill and he took a pill and Don came over, she says, yes, at 1 star. Garrigo says, you said you were willing to have X with Don because of your birthday party, ? Yes, it was nice. What is she doing? What is she doing?
Yeah.
I feel sorry for her. Not in a way that I want to. I'm saying you have a child. You have a family.
That she forgot about the child.
But even 50 Cent, you had a baby by a really famous guy, and you're out here hooking. You're hooking. When you went, and I don't believe when you went to Rick Ross' party, you didn't know what was going to happen. They just walked over to me because they said I look like I'm in the lifestyle. Girl, somebody says.
They just walked over and just put me up because they said I look definitely like a 304. They can see my 304 energy.
Pow for Pow says ex trafficking need to be for the underage or kidnapped victims. Do you agree, Sharrell and Perry? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Not for a escort.
And not for a volunteer. Not for a volunteer.
Not volunteer, yeah. Yep. This is Diddy, definitely Diddy's witness, for sure. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. And she really messed up real bad. You guys will see when she used the word the lifestyle. Somebody gonna ask her, well, what kind of lifestyle are you talking about? Somebody gonna say, what kind of lifestyle are you talking about?
Girl, what you into? What? Lifestyle?
The lifestyle. She said it. No one forced her to say it. She said they knew that I looked like I was in the lifestyle.
Yeah. Wow.
It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's unbelievable. She's not a good witness. I don't care what anyone says. That doesn't mean I love Diddy. This girl sucks. And she's lying about who she is. And she doesn't want people to find out. And you've been through 2 aliases, huh?
You can't use your real name in a lifestyle.
You can't?
Well, no, I mean, it's not a good yeah.
Garrigle says, this is between you and Paul Arthur, in which you ask, do you have any plans for Valentine's Day? She said, right. Gary goes, you said you wanted to see Paul as a person. She said, yes. Gary goes, you said after Cassie's lawsuit, you saw changes in Sean. She said, yes. They're trying to show that you aren't being forced in the lifestyle. I'm going to keep using that word because she brought it up first. Yeah. They're showing you have a certain lifestyle.
Period. That was already there when Diddy brung you in off the corner.
And you like doing the lifestyle with people with money. Icons, they said in the testament, in the testimony. Perry, how many rapper icons have you hung around? No. How many icon rappers have you hung around? That would be none.
0.
But you seem to find them wherever you go.
Because people that's about the lifestyle know other people within the lifestyle.
The lifestyle. Thank you. Lifestyle. Girl, you should have just told us 3 days ago you were a swinger and we would have moved on. Because
the left swinging with the guy with the best. I just be swinging.
Yo, what is that song? That song, everybody. It's called
It's harder. I be
that song? She got her boots on the ground. Child, if she don't stop.
Oh, no. Her boots everywhere but on the ground. Whoa. She got her boots in the air.
We have
Go ahead.
I can't. I want a new partner. I'm gonna have to take somebody else on because I can't. Something is wrong with Perry. But she made her vital mistake. You guys, don't forget it. Everybody in the chat. She made a vital mistake saying that she was in the lifestyle. This is Diddy's plant. This is Diddy's plant. He lured her into saying exactly what he wanted her to say. Hell, she knew what she had to say to keep that rent paid. You're in the lifestyle. You should have told us this 3 damn days ago because we are tired of looking at you.
Okay.
Girl.
But the cross need to pick it up a little faster because it's so much more to explore to bring out with her. That she needs to step it up a little bit. Oh, but it's
I don't like Tenny Garagos. They needed someone else. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, Miss Garagos. Your questioning is boring. if we had Miss Moreland up there or Brian Steele, even Mark, you've got to realize people are listening to this. And
she was willing to talk. I said I was in the lifestyle. See, Nicole Westmoreland would have said, lifestyle? Girl, what was the lifestyle? Tell me about that glitter. Yeah, girl. That's all you got to do is flash them a couple times and things get started. Pop a couple ecstasy pills and stuff.
Yeah.
These guys will do anything for 7-inch heels in the air. Mm-hmm.
Girl, do you know, Tenny, you are missing golden opportunities. She just told you that she was in the lifestyle. You did not question her on that word. Am I getting hyped up again? My bad. Y'all know I talk too much. I get hyped. But if you would have given this question to Brian Steele, he'd have been all over that. And Westmoreland, she would have just tore you up.
Dig into it. It's lifestyle. What would that be if you had to use a common word? That'd be like hooking.
I got a update. Garrigle says, you said Sean would write to you, I'm single, I'm polyamorous, and that hurt you? ? She said, yes. After the lawsuit, he went to saying we were in a relationship. You are my girlfriend. That meant a lot. ? That meant a lot. She said it did.
It really did.
Girl, you just said yourself. I'm not trying to yell at you. I'm trying to be open-minded here. But you just said yourself that he was running around town with Gina. We are slowly working our way up to Carisha. You really thought he loved you? Oh my God.
See, a lot of people like that just want a place to stay for the night. And hopefully that it can get extended, like an extended stay. That's all she's worried about.
Sharrell, look at, wait, hold on. 50 Cent. Oh, let me head over there. Perry, keep your eye up today. Okay. We got to head over there. Thank you. What is he doing? I don't know. Hold on. I can't even get over there fast enough. Wait, hold on. I don't know if I should play this because if it has music, I can't play it. But the title, Freak Off Matters.
I've seen it. I can't remember. I think it had. Let me check it out again. Because
does it have music?
I think it do.
Let me
like
take it out.
Matters or something like that.
Let me
see.
It has music.
Yeah.
Child, not Diddy. Oh, and baby oil. Young Miami. This is so funny. Oh, come on, Diddy. I mean 50 Cent baby and Kid Cudi.
No way you can play it and mute it, is it? I don't think it is. Can you
let me see if I can take the music out. Child, something is wrong with 50 Cent. Something is wrong with 50 Cent. Perry, let me try to take the music out. Can you keep your eye on?
Oh, yeah, I'm checking right now. I'm back on it.
What is wrong with him? That girl, she's going to be, y'all worried about Diddy. You got to worry about 50. And she just admitted in court to being in some kind of lifestyle. And I'm sure that when they go to court for custody, they're going to know what the lifestyle is. Oh my gosh. She just ain't got no common sense.
I don't think everybody know what the lifestyle is right now.
It has to be swingers. It has
I ain't never heard of it to today, but I get it. The lifestyle. They make it sound all nice and pleasant.
The lifestyle. I know.
I got to be a part of that lifestyle. I got to have it, honey. The lifestyle. What's your religion? Lifestyle.
The lifestyle. The lifestyle. I will never forget it. You just implicated yourself into being a swinger or escort, whatever lifestyle it is. Because this is, girl,
Yeah, she's just money. Them escorts making money. That's a lot of money.
You want to try it? You said you would escort for $5,000. Remember?
I'm gonna tell you something.
You're kind of escort.
I know, but I'm gonna tell you this, and I'll probably say this and take it back.
You're not really an escort. You're a streetwalker. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If I was a girl, if I was a girl, right, and single and all that stuff, now I would practice safe stuff, but I'd probably go out. Like if I was a girl, my rack would be nice, right? And if I had blemishes on my skin, I get a little lightener and fillers. But when I step out, like bam, right? When I step out my crib, if I was a girl, my hair would be on fleek, my chest is pumped, and my ass is going like this down the street.
You would get a BBL if you were a girl? Not a BBL, Perry.
A lot of people go 4 years. To be a doctor, you might have 8 years of college schooling. Look, now I don't know. I'm not sure.
You want to be in the lifestyle, Perry?
Look, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be dealing with no broke ninjas. Look, I'd be on fleek for real. My hair be did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be one of the.
Perry, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't have enough money to get your hair did. You are only sleeping with them for $5,000.
Okay,
you're cheap.
No, but check it out though, because you'll work your way up the chain. These surgeries ain't free. And then you work on your talent. And then you work on the talent. You work on the talent. You build.
You're a streetwalker, sir. You're a streetwalker. You're not. You will never get to me.
You know what? I might be a streetwalker today, but I'll be up in the high rise tomorrow.
Not for $5,000.
No,
you're cheap. You're saying that you want to be a Craigslist.
No. Yes. You work your way up. You might have to be on Craigslist for temporarily. While you're getting the surgeries done and getting the funding. But yeah, I guess somebody just said it. Where I'm at. Walker said, "I'd just be a cheap hoe." Right. I'd be cheap hoe today. Because look, let's stop. No matter what kind of hoe you is, you ain't starting off getting all the money up front. You get to work your way up.
You want to be a hoe with dreams?
You know what though? Because I'm just telling you this. I think a lot of people like S stuff, like sex, but you can make money and enjoyment at the same time. Girls got it made for real. Girls only get to just look good.
Oh my God. You're going to be in the business a very long time. You are a cheap, scroungy hoe. I'm sorry. Because I got to start up. And I don't know. I can't no. I just know. I'll just be broke on the sideline. The girl is out of her mind. And she made the biggest mistake today. When I do my recap and you guys say, what is the biggest mistake today? She identified herself as a person that's in the lifestyle. She can't take it back. And she said it more than once. She used the word lifestyle about 3-4 times. It's no getting out of it. Girl.
Simply Lee got the whole package figured out. Perry, would you start off as a 304 and would end up with a lifestyle sponsor? Yes. Think about it. Most of this stuff, a lot of people have to go through all this labor and all this stuff. You in a nice 5-star hotel, AC, five-course meals.
Because it was hot. It was hot when you first got started. You were in the Vegas heat.
It's hot in the streets. It's hot in the back seat of a Pinto. Shit, you got to work your way up.
Child, Perry. She made the biggest mistake. She made the biggest mistake, you guys, today. She said she was a woman in the lifestyle, and I don't know. It must have just came out her mouth. I don't know why she said that. It makes no sense. You just identified yourself as a swinger.
Explaining that way, no, but she said no. Yeah, swinger would be that's low class for her. You get to be in the lifestyle.
I mean, an escort.
An escort is is beneath her. She's in the lifestyle. She just told you.
What does lifestyle mean to you, sir?
The top of the top.
A gold digger?
No. Gold diggers. That's way beneath. Lifestyle is a person like you got. If she was in the military, she'd be a general. On top. Huh? 4
I
stars.
don't know. Oh my God, something is so wrong with Perry. She made the biggest mistake, and she can't clear it up. She called herself a person and identified. They said why? Because she was going to have Group SEX without Diddy being there. She was at a rapper's party, a rapper that's an icon. Hopefully, the jury can realize that this is somebody with a lot of money. Rumors are it's Rick Ross.
Oh, my buddy. I seen my buddy today.
What buddy?
Truth, what's up? What's up? Diddy has his lawyers out here doxing people because the realization has set in that he's going down. This line of
Doxing
questioning
people?
right now by Diddy lawyers is just sure stupidity. Oh, it's stupidity because everybody should have known from the beginning that she was in a lifestyle. Is that what you mean?
Well, I want to know what she means by doxing people. Like just getting the name or something else.
Like every loser got an excuse. They feel like the prosecution feel like they lose.
It's a rare condition this day and age.
That's not music, is it?
She was saying, can you mute it though?
Yeah, we gotta mute it.
Yeah.
50. I cannot believe he put that on his social media. Oh my God. Oh my God. 50.
See the car burning?
50. What does he do? You are crashing out, 50 Cent. You are crashing out. Why is there a picture of Jay-Z up there? What do you got to do? Not Justin Bieber. Leave Justin alone. Oh, no. Oh, my God. He's spraying Lysol. 50, that's not funny at all. Child, please. Oh, my gosh. 50 will not win in court because identity is not supposed to be known. Government will not allow to be used. This would have an effect on future witnesses in cases. Okay, thank you. That's great because she identified herself as being in the lifestyle, and I can just see 50 taking that to court. But now that he can't, he would have to try another way. But I just see him, look, he's being petty. He's putting up memes.
It's not too hard to take her to court and probably get custody if that's what you wanted. But he might not even want that, seriously. Because it might just be cheaper here.
Perry, she's an escort.
Well, I know. I'm saying, so he ain't got to get nothing from this court.
You got to update.
I got to update. Yeah.
Garrigo says, when you saw the video of Mr. Combs laying hands on Cassie, you felt sick? ? She said, I did. Garrigo's, that was not the man that you knew, right? ? She says, right. Oh my God. Sidebar. She's messing up. She's a plant. Nobody's that dumb. She's a plant. Maybe Diddy told her what to say, what to do. Nobody's that dumb. She's a plant. Perry, what do you think? Plant? I'm going to give a poll. Is she a plant?
I know, believe it or not, I'm still standing on what I said at the beginning of the video. I don't think she's a plant.
Nobody's that dumb.
She's in a lifestyle. It's a different mindset. These people are just focusing on their desires and cash, right? Like, I think that she's doing what she's doing. She know it's over with her and Diddy.
So what is she doing?
Just putting these things out.
Oh my God. Oh, okay.
She's going to set up for a civil suit. That's what I'm thinking.
That's what yeah, for sure.
Cassie got 20 million. I can just piggyback off what she did. I can get 5.
I'm still voting. Let's see. It's going up and down, up and down. I think she's a plant. She's a plant. Nobody's that dumb. Nobody says stuff like that. She knows the world is watching. She's not that dumb.
Vincent Hamilton says, the lifestyle is an elite group. Everybody has to be let in.
You don't think it has nothing to do with SEX?
You get to be let into the special group. I mean, you can't just walk in there. you get to be a straight pro. You know?
It looks like it's split. I asked, is Jane a plant? It's 50-50. So because we got 49-51. So it's a split. Y'all, who doesn't see that she's a plant? Y'all think she's that dumb? Oh my goodness. This is just bad. This is a bad week. She's saying she's in the lifestyle. Perry's looking into prostitution, starting from the bottom. This
Starting
is
from the bottom now. I'm here.
This is a bad day. This is a bad day. It's a bad day. Y'all say 50 Cent didn't create that AI. Another creator did. Oh, they did? Child, it's still a mess. And he still put it on his social media. And you supposed to be keeping her identity a secret, sir. I mean, what's going to happen between her and 50 after this? I mean,
probably not. He probably just keep giving her that daycare money.
She's definitely a plant for Diddy. Come on, we're not stupid. We're not stupid. We're not cray-cray.
I don't really think she's a plant for Diddy. Well, maybe y'all could be right. Now,
she's
it's a possibility.
It's a possibility. She's a plant. Judge Wood, go ahead, Perry. She's not a plant. Just playing both sides.
See, that's what I sort of think too, right? Positioning herself where she can make as much as possible. And I think that she's going to try to sue him. If this don't go well and Diddy don't give her what she wants, then she going to sue. Remember, she started demanding $100,000 for every year wasted. And how she determined whether the year was wasted or not is based off her own determination.
Child, this is a mess. It gets worse every day, you guys. It gets worse every day. Let's see what y'all say. If a man can live that lifestyle and keep his children, why shouldn't she? Remember, 50 Cent hold her out before Diddy. Oh, he is no different than Diddy. Bunch of freaks. Yeah, because you know what? He had to know she was in the lifestyle. 50 Cent had a baby by the escort.
Yeah.
He did. He had a baby by the hooker. Child, oh my gosh. They giving me a headache.
Yeah. No, I mean, I ain't got no problem with her.
He still want to distance himself.
Just be a good parent. Because neither one of them probably got the time. Like I said, and Diddy probably figured, why get custody when he add more responsibility to his plate when he could just keep sending her daycare money? Because she ain't gonna watch the baby neither. She just gonna pay a daycare to watch the kid while she work.
They said Diddy gonna pay her off if she is playing in the prosecution's face. She really, really, really is. Say that again. She is playing in the prosecution's face.
I mean, but if she was doing that, wouldn't she be more direct? Like, no, I really loved him, and you know.
No, Perry, she's a plant. She know what she's doing. Nobody's that dumb. Nobody brought up the word lifestyle. She just offered it up. Come on.
It's a real
I can see Diddy right now sitting in his chair. Remember how they say he be nodding?
Mm-hmm. Lifestyle.
He's here.
And your son? It's still early. Remember, we started at regular time today.
What day of the week is this?
Thursday.
I've gone into a Diddy haze. Where am I? Where do I live? What's my name?
You all paranoid and shit. Who there? Who there?
No, because
you watch too many of those shows for real.
No, Perry. Getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning is not bothering you?
Yes, but I'm talking about the paranoia for you.
Child.
I mean, you're like you fresh out the lifestyle.
Let me say something. Somebody had said something earlier about she shouldn't have her child taken away from her. I think 50 Cent is so petty. Let's not forget, you guys. He's so petty. He's so embarrassed that we know he had a baby with the escort. And then not only did he have a baby by her, she's still in the lifestyle. I think he's going to take her to court for custody. Now, will he win? I don't know. 50 Cent ain't got time for no kid either. That poor little kid.
it'd probably be better off for him just let it stay and just keep sending her daycare money.
Well, he's embarrassed.
But I mean, really, how much embarrassed can you be? I mean, you moved on from her. Oh, I guess.
Mess. This is a hot mess. Perry, if you were a woman, would you have a baby by 50 Cent? What's your cut? How much you looking for a month? Here we got an update. It says they're back. You remained in contact with Mr. Combs after the video. She said yes. You stayed in Miami with him for a few days, then left. She says, I did. He flew to LA in June with his children. She said yes. She probably went to another freak night. What they call hers? Hotel night. With one of her favorite escorts. Girl.
Was hers hotel night? I think they changed the name to try to jazz it up. It was called something else. But anyway.
I don't care what it's called. Freak off. It's called freak off.
Yeah.
This is just too much. It's overwhelming. Overwhelming.
And they'll be going to lunch like in 30 minutes. So let's see. And once they start across, you can't switch people, can you? I think.
Yeah, we need to get Tenny off the questioning. I'm sorry, Tenny. You know, I'm sure you're a great lawyer and all that, but can you have several seats? And we need Miss Moreland. Westmoreland. We need Westmoreland back, or anybody else but you. Okay? No offense. We love you. Girl, go sit down.
Her father's probably there, probably a lot of pressure on her.
No, she's doing a terrible job.
Keep Nicole back on there. Especially with this one. You know, being the lifestyle and everything.
The lifestyle. Something in the lifestyle. It's a song about it too. Anthony says she can't lie, so she telling what they want her to say. It has to be that way. Also, she telling what can help Diddy and clear herself because she don't want to testify, leaving it up to the jury. I think that she's a plant. I don't know if she's worried about the jury. I think she's more worried about her wallet. And so, in a sense, Diddy paying her off, if you look at it that way.
Got an update.
Here we go. Fresh 26 seconds. Agarico says, fair to see Mr. Combs posted about his road trip with his children on social media. She said yes. He says, this is a photo of how you set up the house, some set up by you, some by Jonathan. She said yes. And this is a big bottle of Quat, CLICQUOT. Hold on, y'all. I got to figure out what that is.
What the hell that is?
Hold on. CLICQUOT. It's a bottle of champagne. Well, that lets you know how ignorant we are. It must be a very expensive bottle of champagne.
A bottle I'd never buy. Jensen says this. Young Thug made a song in reference. The lifestyle isn't
He did. That's the song I'm trying to think of in my head. It goes something in the lifestyle. I've heard that song.
In the entertainment industry, not limited to rappers, but based on wealth and status.
Oh, okay.
They are into a lot of things. Chips and whips.
What?
Yeah, all that. They get down like that.
What is it?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Added that in there. Perry, stop. But I was like, what?
No. So remember, she had mentioned that she would pack up her stripper gear, the heels, and whips. So I guess that lifestyle that we aren't a part of, these are things they do. They probably get that thing to go around your mouth with the ball in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. The hell you talking about?
I don't know if it's a ball, apple, whatever. They got something with the thing go around, something.
Listen, it also could also mean swinging, sexing, polyamorous, all that mess. That's what I think.
I know, but they're saying it's a special group though. It's for wealthy people. Only be accepted into this, and you can't just
so
walk.
You wouldn't get an invitation, Perry.
No.
Your ass is on the street hooking. Remember, you said you want to start on the street.
I get that part. I mean, all of these people who finally cracked the code to get in with these wealthy people, then even though you are 304 with a wealthy person, you accepted into that community.
All right, let me keep going.
Yeah.
Garrigo says, and this is a photo on a patio, right? She said, yes. You were drinking champagne. She said, yes. Now it's 8:30 p.m. Already dark outside. Tequila shots, but no ecstasy yet, right? She said, right. Here goes. Jonathan brought the candles. She said, yes. Listen, if I somehow ended up in the not in the lifestyle, if I somehow ended up an escort, you're telling me this is the best kind of escort to be.
Right. It's different levels. It's like you can be on that bottom shelf of the cheap liquor or wines, or you could be on the top shelf or the ones behind the counter, behind the bars. They got a key and safe where they got to open it up to break it out. Like you want to be top shelf.
Then why did you choose to be a Craigslist prostitute?
No, I said when you first start, it's a startup cost. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't get these implants ain't free. Maybe it's any kind of adjustments to my mouth, nose,
Harry, you would get plastic surgery? You need a more pointed nose. Your nose is too big.
Right. No. I'm saying if I was a female though, I would have to consider it unless I was just in love, found the right person. But going to 8 years of college to be a doctor, then you got that. You're an MD, but now you got to go to work every day. A lot of doctors lose their marriages because they work.
But the freak offs are 3 and 4 days.
Think about it. Then you can take the rest of the month off. Right? Yeah, that's like
so wrong with you.
Okay, right now, Sharrell, for real. If me and you could just come on, like say one day, then we take the rest of the week off. Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm sorry, y'all. Something wrong with him.
You in one location. I'd be like a one-stop shop. They call me one stop. Shit. Should people know what I'm talking about?
I didn't want to laugh that hard. Something wrong with him.
I mean, Carrie said it. They'll do it too.
Oh my God. Y'all, come on, y'all. If we had to be an escort, you're telling me that Jane is the example of the kind of escorts we want to be.
Yvette is right. Perry,
but you said you're going to be on Craigslist. So
the rest of the month. Oh no! When you get to that point, when you starting up, you can't retire then. I mean, hell, you just getting started. I mean, you get the implants, but your ass flat, so you get to work on that. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of fine tuning.
Yes, sir. You would need a lot of fine tuning. Okay. Now, something wrong with you. Start with your brain. Okay. Something wrong with you.
That's how these girls do. That's how they be on the IG models. A lot of them wasn't born that way. Now, come on, now let's keep it real. They just work their way up. A little surgery here, a little surgery there. And they'll tell you too. Like, you know how people might get a brand new car? Did you see my new dress? They'll come out and flash them. Most girls try to cover it up. They just flash them. See these?
No, she said she did that. She said she did that at the party. Girl, she is a plant. She's just saying all kinds. Who would even admit to something like that? She raised her shirt, flashed the
right.
And let me tell you what she's leaving out. She's leaving out. She was invited to Rick Ross' party. You were invited.
And one more thing too, she's leaving out. How much she got paid?
Ooh, how much you think that they pay?
Trust me, she got paid. She ain't doing it for free. Diddy had to pay $10,000 a month, plus other things, travel, room expenses, 5-star dinners.
Well, we say,
I don't know her price level. Like I'm telling you, the lifestyle is the top shelf.
let me see if I can figure out how much these Instagram models make when they go to
And
Dubai.
then how long was she in Vegas? So, like, theirs ain't no hourly rate.
Yeah.
I mean, she just told you herself in court. You know how much my body is worth? I mean, she probably got insurance out on that body. Well, part of the body. If it's a part of the body stopped working, then she useless. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
I swear to God.
Dutch Boy Professional Series works hard for you, in-store and on the job site, with top-quality durable paints.
Between $82 to $79,000 per day.
That's a big range. Mm-hmm. Damn.
How would they know that? That is so ridiculous.
I mean, there's research out there, I guess. So, $82 a day?
Nah, $82 a day?
I mean, what did you say? I can't be that part. I can't have that part of the payroll. Go ahead.
Standalone net profit $1,200
a day?
Something up to 15%. Revenue from continuous operations. It's got a funny sign in front of it. Let me see.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're gonna have me out there hooking for pennies.
No,
I need you to get the dollar.
It says average escort service provider in the U.S. According to ZipRecruit, escort jobs average $82 an hour or $379,000 per year. Carrie, you better get to hooking. You better get to hooking.
So you know what? And I know people. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it and take it back. People say, "Oh, that's crazy. Why would you do this?" Look, my job is to take care of a family, right?
We got to update. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Garrigle says, play the video. And then in parentheses, it says, music and voice of Combs, Champagne, Boston Celtics. Garrigle, half an hour later, you were fighting, right? She said, yes. Garrigle, you testified you called him a P-file, even though you knew she was not underage. She says, right. Who does she call a P-file?
Probably Young Miami.
No, she said it. It might have been Gina.
Oh, okay.
It might have been Gina, you guys. This girl, she needs to get off the stand. She's all over the place. She's all over the place. Let's see what y'all talking about. What a claim to fame. Sad. Now, we're joking around. It's sad.
Yeah.
Hey, Goose. No, that's Justice. Hi, Justice. He does what they all do. Watch, if he found guilty, you're going to see many 304s filing suits against other rappers. Yeah.
Hold on, so I got to go back to that one that I pulled it. We didn't get a chance to read it from Vincent. Okay. He said, if you notice, it seems like all the entertainers deals with the same women. They prefer women in the lifestyle. Lifestyle is meant like, it's almost like when you go to a golf course, like that country club kind of feel. You don't want to be behind 7-Eleven. Go ahead.
Okay, we got an update. Garrigle says, and you pushed his head into the counter. She said, I did. She says, you had never had a physical altercation with him, right? She said, I had not. Attorney, you pushed medium hard, ? She said, yes. Garrigle, and you threw a candle at him. She said, yes. What's medium hard?
I don't know. It might just be something because a typo or something. Medium hard. I don't know.
Go ahead. We're
Hell,
about.
you push his head into that marble counter real hard. But the person that's texting it could be, giving us the wrong lingo. But they get them to this fight, and they really need to break it down to either she got proof on actually getting beat down. Because people gonna say, see, that's the pattern. If they don't do what Diddy want them to do, then they get physically assaulted. And still to the day, I just don't believe that happened.
Why do you keep saying this?
I don't know, because I think that she's lying. Like, I ain't doubting the Cassie thing. I'm just saying, I just feel like she's trying to copy verbatim how Kathy made her settlement.
Cassie, you think so?
If it wasn't for that DV, Kathy wouldn't have got that. Cassie wouldn't have got that money. Cassie wouldn't have got that money. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. IMO, she got with Diddy to spite 50. Okay. Well, did she get with Diddy to spite 50? She says she only deals with rich men. You don't find too many black millionaires roaming around Hollywood. So maybe.
Unless she wanted to get with Tyler Perry.
She says she knows they are arch enemies. She knew, but I'm thinking maybe it's not too many billionaires to choose from. That's what I'm thinking. You went with busted ass Rick Ross. I don't know why she went after Diddy. What do you or let him come on to her? Perry, oh, he's gone. I don't know. Was it to spite? Or was it this is what she did? That's her job. I don't know. She's going to other parties, getting involved in other group, XCX. I don't know if it was just to make 50 mad. Because I don't even know why she's doing that in the first place. Because you know who 50 Cent is. And what, you thought you weren't going to get caught? I don't know.
She's a hustler, Sharrell, in that lifestyle. Like, your bills can be paid, but you still want more things. And she became accustomed to doing things for a hustle. Like, you could take a pharmaceutical rep off a corner, and as he get the Jaguars and upgrade his house, he still do it out of habit instead of going to work doing something. Let me go and make this hustle real fast. In this lifestyle, I'm good for the money. I can do this. If funds run a little dry, or if you want something extra, you go out there and put those heels on. These heels are made for walking. That much is true.
I know, it's really crazy. It really is crazy. All of it. It's just really crazy. Kelly says, why does she need to be specific? Why does she need to specifically need to be with a black man that's not black? Not that anyone else is interested. Why does she need to specifically need to be with a black man? She's not black. Maybe they're easier to con. Here we got an update. Oh no, I don't want to talk about that. No. I don't know why she's seeking out black men.
Yeah, I know why.
Why? Why?
She want that ding dong in the cash.
Moving on. We gotta. That's talking about. There's something wrong with you. I don't know. Maybe she's just attracted to black men.
She still want the excitement of it all, right? And that's how she got, wealthy when she came across, well, not wealthy, but a good start with 50 cents. So I don't know. Some people just like different genres.
I don't know. Hey, Ronika. Ronika says they only mess with black men with money. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Any other they call lazy.
Yeah. See, I'm offended. But I know you're right.
Oh, is she saying that black men are the only one to put up with that?
Well, no, she's saying she only deal with black men with money. Any others they call lazy. Like, she ain't down with the black man like that. Only if you got money.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
She would get with a white man with money too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it just seemed like that gold chain caught her attention. You know what I'm saying? So she had to go over there. It was easier probably to get. And she probably just enjoyed, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Let's just stop. Let's just stop for a minute with the jokes and let's go over the seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me that when she was interviewed to to take the stand, every person is supposed to be prepped by the prosecution, the person that brought him on.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me that she said these kind of things when she was being prepped? Come on.
No, they didn't ask these kind of things. They just wanted to really get to him as because to get his fingerprints on setting up some of the freak offs.
I got a quick update.
Drugs, pharmaceuticals being, shipped from coast to
Garrigo
coast.
says, when you say you locked the door, was it a button? She said yes. Garrigos. So did you not force a physical lock, but a button lock? ? She said, right. Garrigos, what was he saying? She says that I'm crazy and a lot of yelling. Garrigos, you go in the closet. She said, yes. Is that what 50 Cent, did you just see on the little thing that was on his, and she's standing in the closet, standing in the closet?
Yeah, peeking out.
Huh.
So, yeah.
What were we talking about? It was something good.
Oh, no, you were saying, let's just be real. Who would just pick this kind of lifestyle? I think we would just be
No, not who would pick this kind of lifestyle. I'm talking about the prosecution.
Okay.
What did they think was going to happen when they brought her on? Or did they not vet her enough?
Okay, no, they ain't vet her enough. They just needed her since the other ones couldn't really. Cassie didn't really put the fingerprints that Diddy made the appointments for the freak offs. They needed him to get him for the S trafficking. They needed him to have booked the appointments, him to have paid. Cassie did it all before. She was a good secretary or assistant or whatnot, right? But they wouldn't use it for that. And then they tried to slide in the pharmaceuticals that we never got proof of, that she said Diddy told her to put the stuff on her bag, which I think he did. To be quite honest with you, right? Because he never carried his own stuff. But is no proof of it. And she was willing to do it. Now, she wasn't 19 and young. She was 35 when she got with Diddy. But they was using her to say, see, they moved it from New York to LA or whatever, across state lines.
So you're saying it was the prosecution's idea to put her on the stand, knowing that Diddy was paying her rent and giving her money. They thought this would be a good.
Right. And then, too, they thought that it would show coercion. That he kept threatening. Think about it. He kept threatening her. If she was forced into this, if she didn't do it, her rent wouldn't have been paid.
But Perry,
they didn't know it would come out that she was in that lifestyle and she could have got the money somewhere else, huh? Go ahead.
This is the Southern District of New York. They got better sense than that. They know that the minute that you get put on the stand, the opposite side starts doing background checks, looking into your history. You mean to tell me, I don't believe that the Southern District of New York is that damn stupid.
Yes. Most of their convictions come off plea deals. Okay? They ain't as smart as you may think. And then sometimes they'll investigate something and never take it to trial. So you keep the winning record up, the percentage. But if you feel like you're forced to make a name, because if they was to win this court case, these people get elevated. The prosecutors, you get these big names and shit for themselves. I'm just saying this. They brung her on, but you hoping that she don't crack under pressure. And just getting these few things from her is all they needed. They need to show coercion. They need to show
so you're saying they're so focused on coercion that they didn't think about the defense going to do a background check? Come on.
Right. No. But regardless of all that, they needed to show coercion. They needed to show drug trafficking. drugs in his suitcase, right?
I think
And
that's
put
Victoria.
his
Hold on.
fingerprints on actually booking these freak offs himself. That's what I'm thinking.
She's saying that 47, what we said yesterday.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even with that, Toria, yes, 47 clean house. He did. Even with that, the basic attorney knows that you're gonna get cross-examined. So it makes no sense for me on the part of the prosecution to make this woman a witness.
Mm-hmm.
What? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
She is getting annihilated. Double talking, crossing her words, using the wrong word. She's in the lifestyle because that could be taken any kind of way. You know,
You got to update. I think. Yeah, you got to update. And it's almost lunchtime too, so they'll be wrapping it up in a minute.
Here we go. Gara goes, you take your working out seriously, right? She said, yes. Gara goes, but you did not put on activewear, but rather a dress. Why? She says, because I could put it on easily. What is she talking about?
Remember, she said that she was so afraid she ran in the closet and changed clothes.
Oh,
But
yeah,
she
that's
put
right.
a dress on. If you was running, you put on like your sweats or like the activewear.
Let me read this. This is an update from CNN. It says Jane, one of Diddy's accusers testifying under a pseudonym, testified about an argument they had on the night of June 18th, 2024. She estimated that by the time the argument began, they had each other already consumed 2 shots of tequila and at least 2 glasses of champagne. Jane confirmed that the woman they were arguing about lived in Miami and was able to spend more time with Combs because of her proximity. That's Carisha. Carisha lives in Miami. She also confirmed that she and Combs had argued about this woman before. I think it was just a ball of emotions that night, she said. There was a lot of just resentment for so many things. She confirmed that she called Combs a pedophile, even though the woman was not underage. She also called him disgusting and a monster. When she felt like the fight was escalating, Jane went into the bedroom, locked the door. Defense attorney Garagos asked Jane to confirm that Combs had not touched her at this point, but kept saying, "Are you just not going to talk to me?" When he kicked open the master bedroom door, she locked herself in the master closet. She yelled at this point that she hated him and wanted him to leave her alone. Jane recalled Combs saying, that I was crazy, just a lot of yelling, like you're not gonna talk to me.
Now, Sharrell, you got 2 updates on the main. So you can see when it says 2 minutes. So it's 2 minutes, and then it's one like 45 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. Garagos says, after the altercation, you ran and hid behind the wall. She said, where was your phone? She says, back in the house. When you went back, you saw Mr. Combs. She said, he was out on the street. Garagos, this had been hours. She said, it had. Garagos, you were angry and screaming. You called him a pedophile. She said, I called him a monster. Garagos, but he didn't kick you again. She said, he didn't. You punched him in the back of the head, and he punched you. She said, he punched me twice. Here's the difference between, what she's saying, because I don't believe her. What she's saying about her, with the difference between her and the difference between Cassie. Cassie, this sounds like this was an escalated fight that got out of hand with Jane and Diddy. Cassie was a punching bag. Now, I know a lot of people are saying now, she used to fight back. She would hit him back. I don't care. I don't care. No, shouldn't be putting your hands on a woman.
And not like that. I mean, you can hold them off, push them off of you or something, but not how her bruises and stuff was. Come on, people. That's too much.
All Mark does is go on his podcast and talk about the case. Podcast? You talk about Mark Garagos? He talks about the case and give his daughter off the record advice. She's not. I don't mean to disrespect anybody. It takes a long time to go to school and pass the bar. And, I respect lawyers. But I don't think she's doing a good job. For me, my personality, I want a more aggressive attorney. Sometimes it feels like, huh?
I was saying, especially like I'm saying, it takes different styles. You're dealing with a person that's in the lifestyle.
They said they just went on a break. Maybe it was a lunch break. Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lunch break because it's lunchtime.
Okay, we're on a break. So let me head over to Long Crime. Go ahead, Perry. What were you saying?
Yeah, no. I forgot what I was saying. What the hell was I saying?
I was saying I need a more aggressive.
Where she goes, I feel as your lover, I wanted to please you, and I pushed through. There were claims that she bought a TV so they could watch their movies together, really focusing on the love, how she wanted to be with him, how she didn't want to break up with him, how she wanted to cuddle with him. I'll tell you where it's really getting interesting today. Her behavior and his behavior after Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit in November of 2023, because she said when she found this out, she said, now you have another woman who's going through the same experiences as me. She said that this changed Sean Combs' behavior. He was down. There had been a sense of resentment, but he also became much more loving towards her. She also testified that when the video came out, the 2016 video of him appearing to beat up Cassandra Ventura, she said it was a very difficult time for Sean Combs, that she had never seen him act like that before. So you kind of see a strain in the relationship, but she still was with him even after this. So it's a complicated bag to try to understand what is really going on and what this relationship was about. And I will tell you, one of the things the jury may consider are voice notes that were played in this courtroom, voice notes that were sent by Sean Combs to Jane. If we have one of them up, let's just play it and we'll talk about it on the other side. All right, we don't have it yet. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in my all-star panel. And by the way, I'm not going to be answering your questions for the next hour and a half. I know you have questions. Submit them on YouTube about what's happening in testimony today, what's happening in this trial in general. I'm going to bring in my all-star panel too. We have with us former state attorney from Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Arenberg, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, Safa Robinson-Ferrer, and with me in studio, Rich Schoenstein, our litigator on hand. It's great. Look at these guys. Look at this all-star panel I have with me. Okay, we're going to take your questions. Rich, I'll start with you because you're in studio. Okay. This is interesting. This is a question from Skibone21. I've heard about this hotel receipt as opposing evidence to Brianna Bungolan. Brianna Bungolan had testified that Sean Combs dangled her off a 17-story balcony in LA. Is there other corresponding evidence for Diddy actually being at the hotel? So I guess the question becomes, she had the weaker testimony for the prosecution. They presented evidence, that he was in the West Coast. They presented receipts of his breakfast, his travel records, basically say he can't be in two places at the same time. Did this balcony attack happen when you said it happened? What do you think was the support for this attack happening?
I don't know the evidence on the specific attack well enough to tell you. I do think if this case was just...
Der Club.
Der Club?
Der Club. Willkommen im Club.
Given this hiccup about where he was he even in the state? I do think that's a problem on that claim. But I also think part of that claim is that Cassie was aware of it. And whether or not she heard about it and believed it was true and felt intimidated by it is actually a separate question from whether or not it actually happened. So it still might be a live issue in the case, even if you're not sure it happened.
And I think there is a message that the jury will see from Cassie to, I believe it's Christina Coram, who, by the way, is apparently not going to be testifying. I mean, there's been no indication that she's going to be testifying. We kind of got an idea about who the next witnesses are. She's not on the list. Shocker to me, because she's come up so many times. But anyway, I think there's a message from Cassie to Christina Coram where she talks about this happening. It does become a question, did she see it with her own eyes? Okay, so we have this voice note up. Let's play it. Again, this is from Sean Combs to Jane.
Hey, baby, we had a great time. Stay in the light. It's all good. Get your rest. You are the crack pipe. That's my new name for you, crack pipe. Or should I call you CP? But yeah, I want you to stay in the light. You know what I'm saying? We had a very, very good time together. Like so much fun. So much fun. Now go rest up. Get in your bag. You know what I'm saying? Got your contract. Find a nice little spot. Put your mind at ease. And yeah, I had a great time. And I really, really want you to get some rest. I didn't know about you throwing up and all that. That's when I was like, hold up a second. All right, get some rest, baby. Love.
Now, Safa, it's interesting because she claims, I don't know if this is the same event, but she had claimed at one point she had thrown up, and he basically was like, that's good that you thrown up. Now we can get the third guy in here. And she apparently had performed sex acts with this third guy. What do you take away from that voice note? What do you think the relevance is for the prosecution or the defense?
First and foremost, I think that this voice note, more importantly, humanizes Mr. Combs. It really gives the jury insight into hearing his speaking and communication with Jane Doe, how they typically communicate. It sounds to me based on this voice note that he's incredibly loving towards her, supportive towards her, and things of that nature, which will certainly be favorable to the defense. Now, from the prosecution's perspective, I think that this voice note would somewhat corroborate whatever possible freak off that they're alleging occurred, specifically when Jane Doe testifies that at some point she had thrown up. This kind of negates it because him in the note, he's saying, I didn't know that you threw up. Or then he maybe became aware of it later. So the testimony that I believe she gave that indicated, well, he saw that I throw up and made me continue. There may be a question about that. But I think that this completes the narrative or continues to complete the narrative for the prosecution that these sexual acts were taking place, that she was tired, that, she may have had a great time, and he's continuing to affirm her in participating in this activity and having a great time and things of that nature. But I think this voice note actually could go to benefit both sides, but I think there's certainly a benefit for Mr. Combs' sake with respect to actually humanizing him and showing him as a loving individual in front of the jury to an extent. And then we hear reference to the contract, which was given, which Jane Doe testified to prior, that this love contract that they came into. So I think that testimony or this voice note also affirms that.
So we have a super chat question from Tony Tokes, and I'm not entirely sure the answer of it or what it means, but that's why we got Dave Arenberg. Dave Arenberg knows all, doesn't he? This is a super chat question. Tony, thank you so much. Did you hear about the hidden phone? Thoughts? Now, I don't know if this is about a phone from Diddy or from Jay. I don't know what this might be about. Did you hear anything about a hidden phone? And if not, we'll try to look it up.
Boy, Jesse, the buildup that I know everything, and it's just a letdown. I don't know about the hidden phone. We need to look that up, and I'm gonna Google it right now. I'll have an answer for you.
We'll put that to the side. We'll come back to that question. I'll throw a different question to you. This is from Shop Girl, who's been so generous with her questions as we've been doing these live shows, which, by the way, we plan to do every single day of this case. Jesse, did the defense bringing the rapper and his wife, whose birthday is in January, into play, open it up for the prosecution to call the rapper to the stand? That became a big point during cross-examination today about her attending this party and what she was doing. I don't know who this rapper is. Can speculate. I don't know who it is, but you think it's enough for this rapper to be called to the stand? Probably not, right?
Well, if the defense made an issue out of it and was referring to it, then that would open the door to the prosecution to pursue that and call this rapper to the stand. So it just depends on the context and what was said, how much the defense depended on it. But that's always a big
warning for the defense that you just, you're throwing everything against the wall, hoping it sticks, but then you unintentionally open the door for more evidence. I mean, I always thought that the reason why KK was not testifying in the prosecution's case was because they were going to use her as a potential rebuttal witness to be like a warning to the defense saying, be careful what you say. We got the woman who knows where all the bodies are buried, metaphorically speaking, of course, ready to go to contradict and rebut anything you put on.
Yeah, it was apparently one of these sex workers was at a dinner for the birthday of the rapper's wife, and apparently they were asked, "Does anybody else, if Jane knew anybody else in the lifestyle?" I wonder, Saf, are they trying to normalize it? Are they trying to say this might be odd, this might be strange, but it's not him trying to cover up a crime?
Absolutely. I do think that they are trying to normalize it. And I think the reality is, individuals who are in the music and entertainment industry, some of them have so much power, so much money, so much access, and so much affluence that they do engage in some of these things. It's not uncommon that you might hear of a rapper flying out women to Miami to, partake in sexual activity, shopping experiences, or take them on vacation and things of that nature. That's not uncommon. Or to live this sort of rock star lifestyle where you have sex, drugs, rock and roll, and things like that all go hand in hand together. So I think that the defense is also trying to normalize it to an extent. And I think that, there are individuals who engage in this type of activity, even normal, traditional civilian individuals who may live a swingers type of lifestyle. And so the defense is trying to highlight that and normalize that for the jury.
So this is a super chat question from Richard Essiaw, and really appreciate the super chat. Can you please dive in and elaborate about this bombshell phone evidence that was filed June 9th by the prosecution that they're trying to bring in? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put that question on hold when we get Elizabeth Milner on, our in-court reporter. I think she's probably the best person to answer that one. So, Richard, we're not forgetting your question. I'm going to ask Elizabeth that. Rich, I want to ask you this. We have this coming in. Where is it? It was a good one. Okay, so we talked about Christina Coram. I thought she was going to have to testify. She's been mentioned by like every single witness that's come on the stand. Sean Combs, former chief of staff. This is from Naturally Now. Great show. Thank you so much. Will they charge KK if she doesn't testify?
Don't know the answer to that. I mean, I have long speculated that there are a lot of people in this case that are both potential defendants and potential witnesses. And I've long thought that there have been discussions going on between the government and some of those individuals about, would you like to come in and testify, or would you like us to indict you, or something to that effect? Even if there's not ultimately a non-prosecution agreement, there can be discussions like that. So I don't know if that's happened with KK. I don't know if that's a possible defendant in a future case. I will say that the prosecutors here seem laser focused on Sean Combs, right? Yeah. Nobody else has been indicted of anything. So they are very single purpose about this.
We've got a question here for you, Safa. This is from Shy. Do you guys think her testimony leans to the defense? I'm assuming they're talking about Jane.
Yeah, I think that Jane's testimony is certainly favorable to the defense. I think that the prosecution sort of has the transportation to engage in prostitution in the bag. However, when it comes to sex trafficking and the racketeering charges and the threats of force and coercion and things like that, specifically to the sex trafficking allegation, I think that Jane Doe's testimony has actually been more favorable to the defense. You have testimony and you have evidence, including text messages and voice notes, that reflect that, when Mr. Combs would prompt her to say, hey, do you want to call such and such for tonight? No, I'm not really in the mood. Okay, that's fine. It'll just be the two of us. Or, they made other plans and watched, their own videos while they were at home, as opposed to actually engaging in those acts. So I think that her testimony is favorable to the defense. Not only that, but as we've learned of what her testimony has become, it's been a little contentious with the defense at times. And it looks like she's testifying and she's showing, I guess what I would say is, exhibiting jealousy throughout their relationship. And why did she not get certain benefits that other women may have? gotten material things and to live a certain material type lifestyle. So there's a fine line between those things. And I think based on what I've heard her testimony to be, it can actually be more favorable to the defense.
Something you mentioned, we actually have another voice note from Sean Combs that's kind of on point about this. If we have it, let's play it.
So if you come in for 24 hours, yeah, you always wanted to set some up. So now you got the opportunity. So set some up for tomorrow night. That last vision we had was Dawn and ATL. See you put it together, baby.
Really interesting to hear that, Dave. I mean, just to give you an idea, we put up a poll. Does the language used by Diddy in these audio recordings provide support for Jane's allegations? 70%. Diddy's defense, 29%. Interesting to see that disparity because you can't, it's his voice on there. They're not saying it's not his voice. They're not even going away from the fact that these events, these hotel nights, these debauchery nights occurred. It's the context and whether or not they're crimes and who set them up and whether or not she was a willing participant. These voice notes, what do you make of them?
Well, first off, who's bleeping the voice notes? Is that the court, or it couldn't be Law and Crime, right? I mean, we're on the internet.
We guys, our producers, is us bleeping it or no? I think it's us bleeping it, right?
Since 1954, our science perfects what nature invents. Plants don't just inspire us.
I think our audience is mature enough to handle the F words because I do think that
this is a family show, Dave. What on earth are you talking about? People bring their children here. What are you talking about?
Well, if I'm a prosecutor in court, I would want every last expletive to be heard by the jury. Safa is right. These messages, especially when you clean them up, when you take out all the foul language, they do humanize him. And that's where I think as a prosecutor, I'm a former prosecutor, I would be like, I want it all in. I want all the nastiness and gross stuff and the expletives all in there and not totally cleaned up. So as far as whether they help the defense or the prosecution, actually I agree with the audience that I still think it helps the prosecution because it shows planning these hotel nights or freak-offs. And, to the extent that Jane hurts the prosecution, I still think she helps more than she hurts because she corroborates what Cassie was saying. Cassie had issues in her testimony too, because at times she consented, and it's up to the jury to decide whether or not they believe that someone can give consent and then take it back. And then maybe say yes, but because she was coerced into it. It's the same type of dynamic with Jane. Yes, she seemed to be more loving to Diddy down the road, but overall, I do think she corroborates Cassie, warts and all, because life is complicated. These relationships are complicated. It's important that the jury understands that you can consent at some point, and then you could say no, and it's still rape, and it's still human trafficking.
Yeah, one of the things you have to be thinking about here, Rich, is I don't get the sense this. Like when they were cross-examining Mia or they were cross-examining Brianna Bongolan, it seemed to me they were going really strong to say, you're not telling the truth about you being sexually assaulted. You're not telling the truth about you being dangled off a balcony. And you might be making it up for whatever reasons, financial motivations, I don't know. I'm not getting the sense that they're being that aggressive with Jane in that line of questioning. I interviewed Mauricio Padilla for Sidebar, and he goes, she could be a victim. She could be a victim of a toxic relationship. She might not be a victim of a crime, but she's still potentially a victim in all of this. And it makes me feel the way they're cross-examining her and what they're cross-examining her about is almost putting the prosecution in the hot seat, saying that her testimony doesn't really amount to sex trafficking or racketeering. And it's, the idea of what would be her incentive to come forward and testify. She was issued a subpoena. She doesn't have much choice to testify here.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that they have the same ammunition against her they have against some of the other witnesses. To me, the strongest thing she says for the prosecution's case is when she testified that after hearing Cassie's story come out, she realized that she was a victim too and that this had happened to another person. And that's exactly what the prosecution wants the jury to come away with. The prosecution wants the jury not to think that this is just something about Diddy's relationship with his longtime on-again, off-again girlfriend, Cassie, that can be explained away as a toxic relationship and a one-off, but this is about fundamentally who Sean Combs is. Look at the way he treats other women. Listen to these voice messages. Look at what he does. That's what they're trying to prove.
By the way, Tony Tokes came back, gave a little bit more context about that hidden phone. He goes, it is device 1. Diddy had sent KK messages confessing things. Tisa Tells said it is the court records. They didn't find the phone during the raids. Device 2 led them to device number 1. And then he writes, I don't know, LOL. Yeah, we'll try to figure that out and sort through it. Okay, this is a question for the whole panel. I'll start with you, Rich. It's a great question. This is from Allison Thompson. To the panel, I feel most of our panel guests have a slightly different angle with responses. Has any of your thoughts and opinions changed at all compared to what they were when this trial started? I'll start with you, Rich.
I don't think so. I think, fundamentally, I thought and I still think that they were going to be able to put on evidence demonstrating that he's a bad guy, demonstrating physical abuse. I thought they were probably going to be able to fulfill the elements of these prostitution and sex trafficking charges. And for me, the real issue was always and still is, can they prove a RICO violation? Can they prove all of the things beyond a reasonable doubt that are wrapped up in a RICO violation? I don't have a different view of that than I did at the beginning. And I don't think anything's happened in the trial that really so far has thrown me for a loop.
I'll tell you what, I'll get the answers from Safa and Dave on the other end. We have to take a break. Why? Because Elizabeth Milner's outside of court. So I want to get her breakdown about what's been happening today and also have her answer that super chat question from Richard Esau. We'll be right back right after this. Stay with us.
Dutch Boy Professional Series works hard for you, in-store and on the job site, with top-quality durable paints.
They're on break right now. So what do you guys think so far about this Diddy trial? And they said about a hidden phone that I guess the feds just confiscated. However, I don't know how is it hidden if they didn't find it? But so everything is under siege. If they don't find it, then you were hiding it. I don't know. So I don't know. Did they add another charge? I don't know. So did he tell somebody to go and get this phone? Because he got raided. And then after he got raided like in March of last year. Wasn't it March? And he didn't get locked up until about September. So who knows? Yeah, but the case is quite interesting. I don't know. I don't know, but so I'm busy doing stuff here for my business. So I thought, let's listen to it and let's find out what are the attorney's perspectives on each situation. So they're going to have someone who's been in the courtroom come out and answer some of the questions, and then we'll get the answers about the about what was going on with this phone. Okay, so we'll wait.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So we have with us Law and Crime's in-court reporter, Elizabeth Milner, who is back with us, going to be answering all of your questions before she has to jump back into the courtroom. She was there for all of the testimony today. She's been there for all the testimony for every day. Elizabeth, it's great to see you. So besides the questions like from El Spelunker, who says, will Elizabeth write a tell-all book after this? Or a comment from Tablet Lingua, who says, Elizabeth for president. Besides those great comments, so you already got one vote. 2 votes. You have my vote. Okay, so besides those, we had this super chat question from Richard Ezios, excuse me, and it says, can you please dive in and elaborate about this bombshell phone evidence that was filed June 9th by the prosecution that they're trying to bring in? Do you know what this is about, what this could be about?
Yeah, so I think it kind of could possibly be about, as far as the prosecution goes, is that the government wanted to enter some note entries that Jane had made in her phone. This was after Cassie's lawsuit, and they wanted to bring this up under redirect. And so there was kind of some arguments about it this morning, but it seems like from the government's perspective, they really wanted to get in one particular, at least sentence from this voice note or from this note in Jane's phone app, where Jane had expressed in December of 2023 that she felt manipulated and she felt obligated to be doing these hotel nights about 98% of the time. The government, in their argument this morning, was saying this kind of rebuts the cross-examination as far as Jane, as far as the questions that the defense was kind of posing to Jane as far as just her willingness to participate in these hotel nights. But according to the government, they want to use this particular sentence, at least from my understanding of it, just so that way they can kind of help rebut this under redirect. However, they should have possibly introduced this under direct, but I think given where the cross-examination has gone, that they were trying to introduce more exhibits as well too. But it seems like from their perspective that they just wanted that one little piece of sentence, because it seemed like the judge didn't want all of these exhibits to be put in under redirect. But the judge said that he'll reserve his ruling as to that one sentence. So we don't know if that sentence will be admitted, if the jury will hear this particular note yet, but I believe that is the answer to your question, and I hope I answered it well.
Okay, what about this? We got a question from Michaela, and this is really interesting because I can't get a sense of it either based on the reporting. Do we know why testimony was delayed today? I saw it was due to an unknown issue, but wanted to ask if you may have heard anything. I mean, this just came up again right before the break. It seems that the judge had even wanted, or the prosecution even wanted, Sean Combs to be a part of this meeting. That is, there was some issue that was discussed in the roving room. They have concerns. Do you have any idea what is going on in the judge's chambers?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I have no idea what's going on. And I think a lot of us have been kind of scrambling to figure out what exactly is happening, because it seems like from both sides, they're being very tight-lipped about this. But from the defense's perspective, Sean Combs wasn't in the back for the conversations that were had in the roving room or the chambers room, and it wasn't being transcribed either. So he wasn't able to follow along. So from the defense's perspective, they wanted to make sure that their client was able to be a part of these discussions. But here's what we do know. I'm going to wait for the ambulance to pass real quick. Okay, now we're good. But as far as just what we do,
so Elizabeth, it's super loud, super loud. I'll jump in. I'll jump in as we wait for this to happen, because it's, you're in downtown New York. Okay, so very rude. They're interrupting our show, by the way, but it sounds like an emergency. So there you go. Okay, back to you, Elizabeth. So now talking about what happened with this issue, as far as you know.
Yeah, of course. So what we do know is that this was a conversation between both parties, so the defense as well as the prosecution. But also, I think what the interesting part is, this was a conversation between Jane's attorney too. And so it was all kind of 3 different parties in the back in the roving room discussing this. And so court was delayed for a while this morning. It's been a really weird morning this morning. There was stuff going on before court happened. There was stuff going on once court started. And so it really kind of delayed the proceedings. I don't think the jury even sat down in the jury box until close to maybe 11 o'clock this morning. Now, mind you, court was supposed to start at 9 a.m. this morning. So it really was a significant delay. And a lot of us were kind of scrambling to figure out what was going on. A lot of rumors kind of swirling. So we don't know the full answer. And we were hoping to kind of get an answer about what possibly they were discussing before the lunch break. But it seemed like from both sides, the government and the defense, they kept it tight-lipped. The judge ordered a sidebar. Obviously, that white noise was playing in the background. It was super loud. And we were were thinking, okay, after the sidebar is over, maybe they'll talk about it. And then they were like, okay, lunch break, everyone. And so then lunch break happened. So unfortunately, we still don't know the full scope of what was going on, but it seemed like a very important conversation that was being had because it took so long. I think Diddy really wanted to be a part of it because he seemed a little kind of agitated that he didn't know what was going on. And the defense attorneys were kind of shielding him, talking with him, whispering with him as they were kind of trying to figure out, I think, from their own end what was happening too.
Well, I'll tell you, the judge upheld this ruling where the identities of these people that were involved in a January 2024 incident, they will not be disclosed. This regarded a trip to Las Vegas where she, Sean Combs, and this group, including an unnamed rapper, they had apparently watched this kind of voyeuristic sex session, this woman who had sex with an entertainer that both she and Combs had used in the past. But the judge said that this is not among the alleged acts connected to the sex trafficking charges that Combs faces. So you can see why they made that ruling right there. Okay, this is a really, really important question about the jury. This is from Leg 7K. A question for Elizabeth Milner. Now that the cross-examination for Jane is coming to an end today, have you had any insights and thoughts on the jury's overall reaction to Jane?
How they're feeling about Jane necessarily. I think there were times maybe during, especially her cross-examination, because I think kind of the issue is we hear one thing under direct and you feel for her, and this kind of applies to other witnesses too, where you really kind of feel for them while they're under direct. But then when you kind of peel back the layers just a little bit more under cross-examination, you're kind of learning more of just the scope of everything. So whether it be the text messages, whether it be even her kind of willingness or alleged willingness to participate in these hotel nights and possibly being fine with them, you feel like you start to kind of learn a little bit more and a little bit deeper under the cross-examination. So for example, when they were talking today about this unnamed rapper and his girlfriend / wife who was going to Vegas and Jane was going along with them, when the jury saw who this unnamed rapper was, because unfortunately we still aren't able to see the exhibits, I did see one juror in the second row kind of going, interesting. So I feel like as far as just where their heads are at, I don't really know. There are also times where like I'm seeing them kind of either looking away or I'm seeing them looking directly at their screens, but I'm kind of thinking, okay, are they wondering how much longer is this particular witness going to be on the stand? How much longer are they going to continue to hear what feels like the same thing?
Discover you in Hamilton County, Indiana. The music love.
As far as court starting, court ending, and just the overall testimony too.
Yeah, they don't have as much information as we do, including how every piece of evidence fits into the overall case. Before I let you go, Elizabeth, we talked about the jurors. Let's talk about Diddy. ATX Stanley asks, question for Elizabeth, what has Diddy been doing while the witnesses testified? Does he stare at them and nod or shake his head or doodle on a notepad? What is he doing?
So from what I could see of him, because I do have a tiny bit of an obstructed view today, but what I have seen of him is he is listening to Jane's testimony. I do see him when he is looking, it's either looking at Mark Agnifilo, who's normally sitting right beside him, possibly chatting with Brian Steele at points, who sits on the other side of him, and then kind of passing notes like he normally does, or just looking at Tinny Garagos do her cross-examination of the witness. And so I haven't seen the nodding over at the jury like I've seen him do for other witnesses per se, but he seems to, as far as just the events that happened this morning, it seems like he's still kind of listening to all the testimony, and if there's anything that they want to be asking, Diddy's definitely writing down that in a note, passing it off to his attorney so that way they can pass it off to Tinny Garagos.
Elizabeth Milner, I know you have to jump back into court. Thank you so much. I'm going to see you later for our sidebar, our recap of the entire day's testimony and events. I'll catch you then. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, so I'm going to continue the conversation, and I'll get back to the question that came before about, has your opinion changed? But before we do that, Safa, this is really interesting. So the judge said that there is a certain audio recording from December 2023 that is not going to be allowed into evidence. And the prosecutor here had argued that by that time, so Cassie had already filed her lawsuit, that Combs was allegedly making a record, maybe a video record, an audio record, that he was trying to paint a certain narrative, that he was trying to craft a narrative about what was going on with Jane. And it's a self-serving false narrative in the recording. And if that's true, I'm surprised that he wouldn't allow it in, but also Doesn't that go into other allegations that we've heard before? I mean, Mia testified that D-Rock, Sean Combs' former bodyguard, had reached out to her after Cassie's lawsuit, was kind of trying to seem to suggest that, everything that was going on with Cassie and Sean, it was all normal. It was a typical relationship, right? And that he was trying to get Combs to reach out to her. And he's already been accused of trying to influence witnesses and reach out to them and tamper with testimony. I mean, look, doesn't that make up some of the racketeering charges that he faces, the racketeering charge that he faces? So I find it interesting that the judge wouldn't allow this in because it seems quite relevant to the case.
I would think that it would be relevant. There's certainly evidentiary reasons that the judge may not have allowed it in. I think that whatever the note or recording might indicate could, of course, be something that would reflect possible witness tampering. But at the end of the day, if the government had this item in their possession, I assume that they would have included it in a superseding indictment against Mr. Combs, and to date, they still have not. So that's one thing. Not only that, but with respect to the voice note, one of the things that comes to my mind is, was it completed so that he could turn that over to his attorneys for legal representation or for legal purposes? And of course, correspondence between us and our clients, they are confidential and privileged. So could that be the issue? The first things first that the court is going to look at with regard to any piece of evidence that comes in is it relevant? This certainly could be relevant. Then the court will do the balancing test of whether it's probative or versus prejudicial, things of that nature, and any other further inquiry that the court needs to make to determine if this is a piece of evidence that could come in, and also could it be properly authenticated. So anything that comes in, videos, voice notes, things of that nature, they need to be properly authenticated. If this is Mr. Combs just making a note to himself with regard to his defense and things like that, and he's not going to get on the stand to testify, then how does the government try to get that in? So that would be my possible reasoning as to why this is not going to be allowed for the moment, at least.
Dave, it's come out that we believe the prosecution's last witness, or maybe their last witness, will be a summary witness. So Danny asks, what is a summary witness?
Well, first off, I really appreciated Safa's comments just now. I think she's right on, because I didn't understand why they wouldn't be allowed to introduce that clear probative evidence against Diddy. And as far as a summary, well, and when you put on a case, you like to have someone who's a storyteller who can lead you through all the events of the case. And then at the end, you may want someone to be able to sum it up, someone who can connect dots, someone who is not just there for one small segmented reason, but who has knowledge about everything. Who would have knowledge about everything is KK, but she's not reliable.
Let me. I'll talk about KK in a second because we had a question coming in about this. But Dave, does it have to do anything with, like, there's a series of charts, or there's so much voluminous evidence that they kind of summarize it in a way, because you can't just go through every piece of it? Is that what a summary witness may do as well? And if so, I'm not entirely sure what all the charts would be.
No, it's not like an expert who then just does the job of the attorney. That's what closing argument is for. Right. The closing argument is when you summarize it, you can bring out your charts and the demonstrative exhibits. But no, the witness would just be someone who has something to offer, some probative information to offer, but can tie everything together. That's what they're talking about here.
Okay, Rich, you ready for this? Talk so much about KK, Christina Corum, who's been brought up so many times. I love our audience, Rich. I love our audience because they're so in tune. They have such good questions, and they make such good points in our polls too. We put a poll up. Who do you think the defense's first witness is going to be? 62% say Christina Corum. We have 17% who say Stevie J. 11% say Alex Fine. This is Cassie Ventura Fine's husband. You ready for this? 8% say Diddy, that he's going to take the stand. But 62% think, we've been talking so much, Christina Corum has to be a prosecution witness. Is she going to be a defense witness?
To say what? I mean, first of all, what is she going to say in his defense that would be helpful? And second of all, if the prosecution doesn't call her, you're really going to put her on the stand and have her be cross-examined by the prosecution? That's your strategy? I just don't see that happening. I don't know what she would offer that would be useful defense evidence. And I don't know how that would outweigh what would probably happen on cross.
Let me tell you this. If they call her, she's like, I'm not saying she'd say it in this way, but basically, There was no criminal enterprise. There was no criminal agreement. He was doing his things. We helped him here and there, but I didn't know what he was up to. Yeah, we set up hotel rooms. We thought it was for him and Cassie. We didn't know who he was getting involved with. We stay kind of out of that. Covering up crimes, not really. Like, if she was supposed to be the connective tissue for racketeering and she's not that, it makes me wonder, that's maybe why the prosecution didn't want to call her. I don't know.
Well, by the way, so think about the optics of this, right? The defense calls her. So now she is acting on behalf of Sean Combs as a witness for his defense. And they cross-examine her. And I think that makes it even stronger that she's connected to the alleged criminal enterprise and the alleged criminal conspiracy, because now you have her at trial testifying on their behalf. Whereas if the prosecution calls her as a witness, then there's some thought, oh, maybe she's made a deal with the prosecution. Maybe she's turned on Diddy. Maybe she's doing this to save her hide. If she testifies for Diddy, she doesn't have any of that.
Yeah. Well, I'll throw this to Alex, our producer, just asked, and I'll throw this to you, Safa. Could KK be called as a rebuttal witness after the defense? Oh, well,
Not sure who you want.
Well, I threw it to you. I threw it to you, Safa. But look, I got to say, Dave has been jumping up and down about that. So let me throw it to Dave first.
Oh no, give it to Dave.
All right, no, I think yes. I think she is not going to be called as the defense's first witness. She's not going to be called as a defense witness. So I agree with Lawful Riches. By the way, that's his Twitter handle. I agree with Lawful Riches on that one 100%. I'm surprised that our audience would say like 68% said that she would be the first witness. That doesn't make sense. But would she be a rebuttal witness for the prosecution? Yeah, very possibly. I think she is that thing that hangs over the defense. Better watch out what you say, because we're going to bring her in and she's going to do great damage to you guys because she knows everything.
So, Safa, I'm going to throw this one to you. You saw our poll. 8% think Diddy's going to be called to the stand. Well, actually, that was not who the first witness is going to be. They think Diddy's going to be the first witness. Well, Safa, Shady Goat, phenomenal name, by the way. Shady Goat asks, is there a chance they're going to put Diddy on the stand? And what are the benefits of doing so? We know the risks. What are the benefits of doing so?
There is a possibility that Diddy does decide to take the stand, anytime that, it now becomes the defense's case in chief. The defendant does have the ability to testify if they choose. We as the attorneys advise them as to whether or not we think it's a good idea. And more often than not, it is an absolute horrible idea. So I would assume that Diddy's attorneys are going to advise him not to testify. Whether or not he will listen to what his attorneys tell him or not is to be determined. If he does testify, he will be subject to cross-examination by the prosecution. And I think that the benefit, if there's any, could be that he gets to tell his own story. He will attempt to explain away some of these things, including these were loving relationships that he was a part of, that how he has financially supported these women and had their consent and things of that nature. But there is still a huge danger, and I think it would be more dangerous for him to testify on his own behalf as opposed to just continuing to remain silent and allowing these voice notes and other pieces of evidence to tell the story for him as best as possible. So that is a possibility. I don't think that it's the greatest idea. TBD on whether or not he'll testify or not.
Yeah, we'll see. It's his choice. Okay, Rich, we got a question from Merlene Spies. Is the love contract not perhaps an NDA? Remember, the love contract was this verbal agreement between him and Jane, right? He was paying, $10,000? What was it? $10,000, a monthly allowance of $10,000. We talk about the rent payments, money to pay her for her teeth. And, he's still paying her rent as a part of this love contract. And I guess what he would get in return is what he would want in return, right? Is this an NDA of some kind?
Okay, so an NDA is a non-disclosure agreement, or sometimes we call it a confidentiality agreement. I've never in my entire life counseled a client to have an oral non-disclosure agreement. That's ridiculous. You would want to spell it out in detail. But could it be, in theory, part of the oral contract? Actually,
When water from the pipes was pouring down, filed a claim with his cops.
We turned it around.
'Cause there's no business like small business.
Agents, sure, that could have been part of his expectation.
Dave, this is from Olivera Nikolic, who's also been so generous with their questions as we've been continuing these lunch shows. What happened to the alleged tapes that Diddy recorded of these freak-offs? Where are they, and will they be released at trial? I think the jury's seen aspects of them, and no, they will not be released. They will not going to be released for the public if in fact they were submitted as evidence, right?
Yeah, there's a rule of evidence that if something's more prejudicial than it is probative, then it would be excluded. It's Rule 403 of the Rules of Evidence. So I don't think you're going to see it now. The jury could see the redacted version of it, but can you imagine? I mean, to do a Caligula-like video in front of the jury would just be, I just think that's prejudicial, distracting. It would be offensive, and they would never be able to unsee it. So no, I think the key video is the one you're showing on the screen right now in still form. That's the video of him dragging and punching and assaulting Cassie. But as far as the sex videos, the freak-offs, they could see maybe some excerpts of it, but they're not seeing the whole thing, and they don't need to.
Let me throw one more question at you, Dave. This is from Sapphire. Won't Cassie and Capricorn Clark's testimony alone be enough to convict him?
On human trafficking, yes. On the prostitution, perhaps. But on racketeering, I agree with Rich said earlier that I still am not sure the prosecution has.
Well. Let me. Okay, ready? What are two underlying crimes for sex trafficking? Excuse me. What are two underlying crimes for racketeering? Sex trafficking and kidnapping. She claims she was essentially kidnapped at gunpoint.
Yes, but you need an ongoing criminal enterprise. You really do need to show that there are other employees who are working on this as part of this enterprise to do it for the boss. And the fact that there are legitimate allegations of kidnapping, human trafficking, arson, all these other things, you still have to show this a coordinated, this is a business that, like the mafia, that has that goal in mind to help the boss, as opposed to some ad hoc, people acting badly and no coordination. So I think although it does help get you there, I don't think it gets there entirely. I think that's going to be the biggest question for me when it comes to the verdict time. I do think that Diddy is going to be convicted of human trafficking, serious charge, and the Mann Act, the prostitution charge. I'm still not sure about racketeering.
All right. We get a question here from Safa. A lot of questions about KK, a lot of questions about Christina Coram. This is from Afri Coco Lux. If KK wasn't going to testify, wouldn't it make sense to charge her along with Diddy to justify RICO as a criminal enterprise instead of only one person, Diddy?
That definitely would make sense for sure. I find it interesting that she has not testified yet, and there's the news that I'm hearing today that she's not going to testify in the prosecution's case in chief. So I'm super curious as to why. I think that she, if anything, would strengthen the prosecution's case. And even though they could call her as a rebuttal witness and kind of add it as like a 1-2 punch at the end, why would you not just start off strong, move strongly through your case in chief, and then pass it over to the defense? And then if you need to call a rebuttal witness, then sure, but hit hard the first time. And I think calling KK to testify as a witness in their case in chief would do just that. Why they're not doing it, I have no idea. It sounds to me like they may have something up their sleeve, so we'll see.
We great comment from Leg 7K. Best show this week so far. Great content today, and the guest panel vibe so well. We'll see. I said it was a great panel today, so thank you so much, Leg 7K. Rich, this is from anyone there. Has the witness that's been MIA been located or made contact with yet? I think this is alleged victim 3. I think this is Gina, who's come up so much during the course of this trial as a source of jealousy, either for Cassie or Jane. I haven't heard anything. And if she doesn't testify, what does that tell you?
I don't know if she's been located. I don't know what the circumstances are. I do know this. 3 is a lot better than 2. And I think it would be very helpful to the prosecutor's case to have a third victim come on and say, this also happened to me.
They had Mia. Mia was a victim 4.
But
and there is an alleged victim 5 who we don't know too much more information about. But the judge said she would have to testify not using a pseudonym. So I don't know what's going on there either.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get these victims to testify and to be confident you can put them on the stand and have them be credible and useful witnesses. So I don't know exactly why this is an issue, but I think from the prosecution's point of view, you want as many as possible.
By the way, so submit your questions. We're going to be on for another 20 minutes or so. If you have any questions about what's happening in the case, what's happening today, we'll make sure to answer them. I just want to throw another question to you, this because it's about NDAs. This is from ATX Stanley. Who is Diddy's business attorney or legal advisor during all this time? Who drafted these NDAs? Well, not the oral agreement, but I guess if he had NDAs that he was making people sign.
Yeah, I don't know. I suspect he had NDAs. A lot of celebrities, a lot of people with public lives have NDAs. NDAs cannot stop people from testifying when they're compelled by a subpoena or called as a witness and sworn in under oath. You don't get to say, I have an NDA and therefore I'm not going to testify. And ultimately didn't stop.
Yes, I love this game. IXL is actually a learning app, but it's so fun, he calls it a game. I'm crushing it. Yeah, you are. He loves the challenge. I love the results. IXL, the learning program 16 million students trust. Try it today at IXL.com.
This is from Lisa.
That the government has really fully proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Dave, you mentioned a little bit before, but what do you think? Verdict today, what would it be?
Well, first off, kudos to Lisa. It looks like she and I share the same birthday. May the 4th be with you and me. So as far as the verdict, I think guilty on the Mann Act. That's the transportation for purposes of prostitution. Guilty on human trafficking. And I think as of right now today, I think the jury would be hung on racketeering. That could change as more testimony is delivered at trial.
Rich Schoenstein?
So I'll handicap it. I think if I was setting odds, if we were in Vegas and I was setting odds, I would give the best odds of guilty on 2 out of 3. I would give the second best odds on guilty of 3 out of 3. I would give the third best odds of a hung jury. And I would give very, very, very slim odds on a complete acquittal. That would be at the bottom of my list.
Okay, well, they asked me too. So they said Jesse and Panel. I'll give my take, okay? First of all, I think he is found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution, both for Cassie and for Jane. I think there has been a lot of testimony about these events, whether you call them freak-offs or whether you call them hotel nights, happening in multiple cities. So now you have the transportation of these two victims to multiple different locations. And by the way, this is not even about sex trafficking. This is purposes of prostitution. There has been testimony that specific sex workers were used in multiple locations. Their flights, their travel had been arranged through Combs, by Combs, through, I think that's important too. They were paid by Combs or through his associates. I think you have a straightforward case of those two charges. Sex trafficking with Cassie, I think you can possibly get with at least 2 instances. The 2016 tape, the jury could accept that she was trying to run away or leaving a freak off. She gets beaten up, dragged back in the direction of a freak off. So this is another location, sex work, violence. I think you can, it ticks off a lot of the elements. I also have said this before, but the allegation that he showed her freak off tapes on a plane, that she threatened to release them. That's an alleged threat. There's a travel component. They land. He demands a freak off. He gets a freak off. So now you have commercial sex. I think it attacks a lot of that off. I can't say that he's going to be found guilty of sex trafficking with respect to Jane. It feels a little bit muddied at this point about whether or not her reluctance to engage in this was a form of, it was force, fraud, or coercion. Racketeering, I think there's 75% there, while I believe they've proven several, or at least they may have indicated evidence to prove some of the underlying acts. I agree with my panel. I don't know if we see this kind of criminal agreement, this kind of organization that's necessary. But let's continue the conversation. Okay. So, and by the way, Leg 7K said, Jesse, you're going to answer Lisa's question. I did just answer Lisa's question. That's right. Question from IA. I'll throw this to you, Safa. Are there going to be other trials stemming from this? With all this evidence, could Diddy supporters end up with their own trials?
I don't think there are going to be any other trials stemming from this unless we have someone that gets on the stand, testifies, perjures themselves, or something of that sort. I think that right now, it's pretty clear that Mr. Combs is the target of the investigation, the target of the indictment. If someone were to get on the stand and testify and perjure themselves, or if there's someone that's entered into a cooperation agreement with the government and deviates from that agreement, could they be prosecuted, based on either perjuring themselves? Yes. Or depending on what the cooperation agreement would reflect, could they ultimately end up incarcerated if they don't fulfill the requirements of that agreement? Absolutely. But I don't think that people who generally, quote unquote, support Mr. Combs will find themselves in hot water in prosecution based on their support. No, I don't think that's the case.
By the way, Lisa5472 says, Jesse and panel, wow, thank you for the awesome reply. Thank you for the great question. All right, Rich, we got a question here from RSS. What happens if he gets charged? I think they mean convicted. What if he gets convicted with trafficking and transportation but hung on RICO? Does the government retry that portion or let it go? And I'll also throw this one to Dave too, but first you, Rich.
There certainly.
This is where I found my son the morning after he died from a fentanyl overdose. We were supposed to usher a church.
On the other counts may depend on what sentence gets imposed, but they may decide not to retry, that's enough of a victory and they've put him in jail for long enough that they're not going to worry about going forward on RICO. But it's an interesting question.
Yeah, Dave, and this is an interesting question too. I agree. I wonder if the sentence that he would be convicted on would matter for the decision to retry on RICO, because RICO carries up to life in prison. But I don't know the timing of that. In other words, can they wait to see what the sentence will be before they make the decision to retry him?
Yes. And that's why I do think they'll wait to see what the sentence is, although human trafficking carries with it a mandatory minimum, so he will serve prison time. Also, they'll want to see what the jury count is. If it's 11-1 in favor of a conviction, there's one holdout, it makes it more likely to retry it. But quite frankly, after this huge case that's taken years to put together and go to trial, I do think that this will be it. I think it's most likely, if he's convicted of those 2 out of 3 charges, most likely that's it. Although, as I said, if he gets like some slap on the wrist and gets the minimum sentence, yeah, there's always a chance they'll try him again for racketeering.
We got a super chat question from Carol Mogan. Carol, thank you so much. Rich, I'll throw it to you. Who thinks KK will be called by the government and when? So, I mean, it doesn't look like she's going to be called by the government, except as we talked about, maybe as a rebuttal witness.
Yeah, by the way, I don't know about calling her as a rebuttal witness, because when you call a rebuttal witness, you are limited in scope to the items that you are rebutting. So if you're going to call her, why are you saving her if you think she has useful testimony for your case and you're putting it in the hands of the defense? You're basically fighting a strategy war. Well, if they argue this in defense, then I can call her as a rebuttal witness. I don't know about that. I still think there's a chance you'll see her in the case in chief.
Got a question from Allison Thompson. How much longer will this trial go for? Is there an estimate for an end date? I think another like 3 weeks. I think they're going to try to get it by July 4th. Doesn't let you know how long the jury deliberation process will be, which I will tell you, if they consider everything that they've heard and they have to, weigh through the credibility of these witnesses and weigh whether or not what their testimony matches up to these complicated charges, this deliberation process could take quite some time. Safa, great question from SL600. Does the trial being in New York City help Sean Combs? I mean, he is being judged by a panel of his peers from New York.
It depends is always the question. The Southern District of New York, they have a team, prosecution team. So, they're very good at what they do, obviously, which is not always good for the Depends, of course, but it is what it is, and feds have the have a high conviction rate regardless. But the fact that there's cases sitting in New York City, I think that could be a benefit due to the diversity in New York City, right? So you have individuals who come from all walks of life, who have had many different experiences that are now coming in to sit on this jury and bring those diversified experiences in to sit on this jury. So I think that definitely could be a benefit for Mr. Combs.
Yep, I agree. Okay, we got another question coming in. Where is it? Okay. This one I'll go to you. I'll go to you, Dave, on this one. This is Abhilasha Darawal. Why did the defense decide to raise concern regarding pseudonyms after such a long time? Why was it not done during pre-trial? Well, I think it was done during pre-trial. I think it had to do pseudonyms with respect to a specific incident that's being brought up by Jane's testimony, right? I could be wrong.
Right. No, that's right. Because this is something you would bring up pre-trial. The defense doesn't want the implication that the witness is scared of their client, and that would make the jury perhaps scared of their client. And so you can see why they don't like the pseudonyms. But yeah, that would have been brought up pre-trial, and perhaps we're talking about something different, like you said, a specific incident when it came to the trial itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly right. Okay, let's continue on. Taking more of your questions right now. Where was this? Don't really have I'll come back to that question yet. Actually, I'll answer this question. This is from Nikki K. Jesse and panel, was juror 6 removed, or is the judge still deliberating on that? This is regarding, again, we don't really know what the issue is with this respective juror. There was talked about a lack of candor. The defense had accused the prosecution of basically trying to exclude a black juror from the jury. There's been no ruling yet. I think they had to submit, both parties had to submit written arguments, but the judge said he'll make a decision before the weekend, so we'll see. Okay, Rich, to you. This is from Naturally Now. Why not bring in profilers like Dr. Ann Burgess in the Diddy case? Victims are scrutinized. Why not show jurors how his refined, repeated behaviors fit a known criminal pattern?
I mean, first of all, it's tough to bring in evidence like that, a profiler. Now, you can bring in some evidence to talk about how victims of domestic and sexual abuse may react, to sort of counter the defense narrative that these women were all willing participants and they're only turning now for their own self-interest. You can perhaps bring in some expert witness on that. But I don't know that you can just throw a predator expert on the stand and let him or her testify that Sean Combs is a predator. I don't know that that would work.
Safa, this is a fair question. This is from Kid's sister. Do you think the prosecution really missed the mark on Brianna Bungolan's testimony, considering they didn't confirm her dates when the balcony incident happened?
Necessarily miss the mark. You may have instances where witnesses may not fully recall, certain times, dates, or things that occur. I'm pretty sure, and I can guarantee you that they have prepped her as a witness, and whatever her prep or testimony or whatever she discussed with the prosecution team reflected whatever date she initially said or what she testified to as being the date that this incident occurred. If it wasn't that, and Mr. Combs was on the East Coast at that time, then that's an issue for the jury to decide, whether or not they're going to give her testimony credibility as far as the date that this occurred. Could it have just been something that she forgot, or just a mistake as terms of when this incident actually occurred? It could just be just that. But I don't think that they missed the mark with her. And again, there's some of the testimony that's coming in is going to be questionable regardless, whether it's her or anybody else that is called to testify. People may not fully testify the same way as they've been prepped to do, and it may not always be as consistent or gel with other witness testimonies as the prosecution would like. But I don't think that they missed the mark with her.
So here is a very important question as we think about grand picture. I will go to you with this, Dave. Question from Stella. In your professional opinion, how likely do you think it is that he will get life without parole if he's convicted?
I don't think so. I think the fact is that the judge is human like everyone else and knows the celebrity and knows that he has no prior convictions. He was charged with previous crimes. And although there's a mandatory minimum here and can be sentenced to life in prison if he's convicted of these counts, I think that he'll get something short of that. And then there's always the possibility of a presidential pardon, which would be hugely risky for even President Trump. So I think that he will serve prison time. I do not expect him to die in prison.
This is from Old Hollywood Angels. Does the judge conviction useless and it's all based on the jury? Yes, it's the jury who decides ultimately not if he's guilty or not guilty. Okay, this is for you, Rich. This is from Kara Allen. With Jane's almost harmful testimony that comes from cross-examination for the state's case, how should the state's what should be the state's best approach for re-examining her? So when they redirect, is there anything the state can do to salvage what she said?
Do you know specifically what?
So let me give my take on it.
Sure.
I think the state had to get in front of this witness. I do wonder whether or not it was important to call her.
Yeah.
You have situations where there's more clear-cut evidence of sex trafficking, right? In my opinion, when she talks about being pressured to engage in these acts with sex workers, when she threw up, when she was exhausted, that she had to keep taking drugs, after allegedly being beaten by Sean Combs, there are text messages where she's showing that she's basically being used. I think that's compelling. On the other hand, there are messages where she says she's just doing to whatever it is to please her lover, that she's encouraging these events, that she's setting them up, and that it doesn't really, is it more she's, upset as a girlfriend who feels like she's not getting the attention that she wants, or he's seeing other women? Is that the cleanest cut case of sex trafficking? On the other hand, she testified to bringing drugs across state lines for him. That goes to the idea of racketeering, right? She testified about assistance, setting up the rooms, cash being used, transporting these sex workers, transportation to engage in prostitution. But it's not the cleanest testimony. And it makes me wonder, what does the state have to do on redirect when a lot of this did come up? A lot of what I even said when she was testifying for the government, when the government was calling her as a witness, I said, it's not the strongest testimony. The defense has a lot to work with here. So I don't even know how much they're going to work with redirect.
So here's what I want to say about this. And this relates to, there was a couple questions before about whether the government missed a mark with a witness. Every witness at trial is an adventure. Every witness at trial is imperfect. Witnesses only know certain facts. They only have certain facts to work with. And then you have the adventure of putting them on the stand. They only remember certain things. They misspeak. They may not come across the way you want. It is a different adventure every single witness. And sometimes if the witness isn't as strong as you thought they were going to be or hoped they were going to be, the best thing to do is get them out of the courtroom and move to your next witness. So I don't know if this witness wasn't as strong for the prosecution as they hoped. I don't know that there is a strategy to improve that unless there are very specific facts that they haven't already elicited that they could point to that would be helpful. But otherwise, if this defense isn't doing it for you, or this witness isn't doing it for you, move to the next witness.
Well, as we get some final thoughts, Safa, this is a good question from Jan Savannah. It's either Jan or Jan. I'm in the mood to say Jan. Jan Savannah. As Jane says, she felt coerced or forced to do the hotel nights. Does autonomy within a forced situation negate what may be considered coercion or assault? I mean, that's the central question. That's a great question.
Absolutely agree. At the autonomy of it, right? Can she make her own decisions? Has she been able to make her own decisions? There's evidence that at times she was able to make her own decisions and say, no, I don't want to do that tonight. And there's other evidence or testimony that may be to the contrary, where, she was given drugs and told to perform and things like that, and actually did those things. So that is going to be an issue for the jury to decide. And I think one of my colleagues said earlier, there's the ability for somebody to consent and then withdraw that consent. So how the jurors are going to look at that as to whether or not they're going to convict is, did she give consent? Did she take back that consent at any point in time? will be a question that they will have to think about and decide. But yes, how does autonomy come into play? These jurors are going to have to think about, their own experiences and whether or not, they think that someone, can and does have a right to say yes or no, and at what point is that, and what other facts are around at the time. Were there other people? Was there an exit strategy? Could there have been an exit strategy? All of those things. I say that also to say, if a person is not consenting and there's no clear consent, then it is not consent.
It's fair. By the way, it was Jan Savannah. She responded, Jan as in Janice, LOL. Jan, if you wanted to be on, you could. You could. I'm just saying. Okay. Dave, as we wrap things up, this is from Alexander Mateo. With so much video footage that has been found for documentaries on Diddy, why would the prosecution have such a problem to prove his guilt without a reasonable doubt?
Well, first of all, can I call you Yessie? Would that work for you too?
You may, but only you.
Jan? Well, with so much video about it's what can be admissible into court. So you can't go and give the argument that, hey, the guy's a bad dude. Obviously, he did this again. You can't show propensity evidence. You have to show what he did here, and what he did here is, according to the defense, based on consensual conduct. See, what's interesting about this case is that there's not that much difference in the the federal government's case and the defense's case. They both are working on mostly the same set of facts. The difference is the consent word. That's the key. So yeah, you could have similar evidence. You can have videos, but the question is, did Cassie participate voluntarily? Did Jane participate voluntarily? Were the prostitutes paid? Well, that one's easy. But as far as racketeering, that's another big issue, which we've gone into already. So it's not just because we've seen all these videos of him being an arrogant jerk. It's got to be more than that. You got to have admissible evidence into court, and you have to prove a lack of consent. You have to prove force, fraud, or coercion to get a conviction for human trafficking.
I think that's a good place to end. I will end with one more comment. This is from JB Dub. Wow, Jesse, no love on the super chat. Seems kind of one-sided. No, I have answered every one of the super chats. Thank you very much, Jay. And if I miss one, I'd be shocked. But let's see. Listen, first of all, great questions from everybody who submitted them. We have an amazing audience. And what an all-star panel. Rich Schoenstein, Dave Arenberg, Safa Robinson-Ferrer. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, listen, Dave and Safa, sorry, Rich, but Dave and Safa, I got to say something here. So for anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more about this case, the ins and outs, we have the second season of Law and Crime's hit podcast, The Rise and Fall of Diddy. It's hosted by yours truly. It's back June 17th, exclusively on Wondery Plus. The trailer just dropped. You can find it right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check it out in the chat. I think it's up there too, the link. But you could subscribe now to be the first to know when we drop new episodes. And we're going to be breaking down each day of testimony in this compelling narrative format featuring incredible reports.
Him and his employees and whatnot, right? I think all the stuff that went down was consensual. When I say that, if you was kidnapped and you took your ass back next week and got kidnapped again, it was consensual. If you did all this stuff, and I ain't got time for all these syndromes. If y'all get mad when I say, oh, they were just looking for money. For whatever motive they had, they chose to stand there. I don't think nobody was forced. And a lot of times, if you go back to the pattern, they'll say, oh, well, I was thinking to myself, this would make him happy. Did anybody tell you that? I was just thinking, I did it because I thought. I did it because I thought. Now, maybe you forced yourself. I'm just saying, like, it's a pattern on both sides. Like, Diddy is this monster. Go ahead.
Okay. Gargle says, then after you called, Jonathan, you were in the shower naked, but Mr. Combs was in his pants. She said, short. Garagos, and you called him a son of a bee. She said, just a bee. Okay.
She remember all that specifically.
Garagos says, okay, just a bee. Then he slapped you, question mark. She said, yes, hard. Here's the thing. It's really starting to bother me that a lot of Black people can be so damn naive. If you tell them something that's in their best interest, they will sit there and debate you. It has to come from a white person in order for it to be true. Now, I just sat there and heard that attorney said it's going to be hard to prove RICO, and nobody said shit. No one said he loved Diddy. No one said you don't understand the law. Nobody said you support men that put their hands on women. I make that same exact statement. It's going to be hard to prove RICO. Yous don't know what you talking about. Yous don't understand the law. Mr. Man told me that it's RICO and that's what it is. I can't stand. And then somebody told me this morning, I'll never forget, you just pulling the race card. Am I pulling the race card, or am I telling you that when I look at life through the eyes of a black woman? A black woman. What, am I supposed to act like I'm a Hispanic? I don't know what it's like to be Hispanic. I only know what it's like to be an African American woman.
And then maybe the people who question it, maybe they're pretending to be some other race. Look, I'm just saying this, and some people will get it.
Some don't
get it, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. But nobody's calling this a race issue. A lot of the people, most people involved with this thing was all black, damn near, right? So this ain't a race thing. We're talking about our justice system.
It's flawed.
That, if you really want to say that being black don't have no effect in our justice system, then you just a flat out sellout, probably, to be honest. Because you admitting to just know it's the truth. Now, blacks, every race get called out for something they didn't do, falsely charged. But majority, a lot of blacks do, way more often. You know, when somebody set up something, it's more
proven fact.
Like, it's a proven fact. Oh, somebody threw my babies off the bridge, knowing damn well they did it. Who did it? It was a black male, 6 feet.
And also too, Perry,
we get pulled over like that too. Go ahead.
If I say, well, this is going to move the goalposts for black African American boys, does that mean I hate white people?
No. It's not even that kind of race thing. But I think when people throw it out there, they want to find some way to shut down the conversation you're trying to have. You see what I'm saying? It's to make you feel like, hey, I'm being racist. I'm doing this. No, we're talking about the justice system. Let's keep it real. Let's just keep it real.
And sometimes I feel like the justice system is designed for whoever has the most money. I say that because I was thinking of the Karen Reed case. From what I've seen, she was innocent. It's just layers to the court system. If you got a lot of money, they seem to get off a lot. Here we go. Combs said, then he tells you to put on an outfit. She said, yes. And he grabs your phone. She said, he went into the messages and said hi to Antoine in the text thread. Garrett goes, it's about the night in January you sent to Las Vegas. He's talking about the alleged Rick Ross party. Okay. She said yes. I mean, it's just so weird that you would support them doing anything they can to get this man behind bars, even if they have to change the goalposts. You should, as a black person, say, I want him behind bars. He's living that life, that crazy addict life. They all are. They're all self-admitted addicts. Right. All of them. They all admitted to being crackheads. But and y'all think they're telling the truth?
They want you to believe that they only addicts because Diddy made them addicts. No. Take accountability for all of it. Diddy got to take his accountability. Like Cammy's just, she posts this up there. Stockholm syndrome, Perry. Is that the excuse
Oh,
you give these victims for saying? I would take that. So God knows Diddy and what could have happened to him and why he's acting. I'm sure he got a syndrome too. But do that excuse his actions? If you lose as a goose, Stockholm syndrome or not?
I got an update. Gergo says, how far is it from your home to the gated community to the gate? She says, a minute or two. Gergos, so like half a mile? She said, yes. I drove and let Anton in. Gergo says, champagne and tequila, but still no drugs? She said, right. No, girl, you're an addict. You're an addict. Stop acting like Diddy's the only one that's an addict. And another thing, too, do you think people are just not street smart with any common sense?
So what now? Excuse me?
You know how some people try to act like, or maybe they haven't been around addicts. Maybe they don't know that the court system is flawed, seriously flawed, and extra for the African American community. Maybe they don't know that the cages that are built that they call prisons are filled with yo damn people. Maybe they don't know that. Do you think somebody can be that out of touch?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's very slim. I think they don't have a problem with their judgment system because they judge what I say and take it to heart. So that they can judge what I'm saying and, oh, no, that's wrong and all this. So they got the ability to judge. They're just biased and they're like down a tunnel vision. Whatever they want, that they use it. And we
like
all
Nancy Grace.
We always have friends to twist the Bible to whatever they want to feel comfort in their life. Thou says you should honor your wife or whatever the thing is. They'll take a verse from the Bible to fit what they're doing. I think, and in this case, people taking all these laws and fine print to fit their own narrative. If they wasn't for that narrative, they'll be rebelling like I am, saying the same thing.
But you really think that somebody couldn't listen to Daphne's testimony and know she's lying? They don't know she's lying. They think she's telling the truth.
Right, because they make excuses for her. Stockholm syndrome and different things like that.
Let me read these really quick.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, it says, Sharrell, now you see what Perry was dealing with. The certain people in the chat. It was frustrating to watch. Yeah, I do. Didn't 50 and Rick Ross have a beef? She loved her baby daddy's enemies. Oh my gosh, they had a big beef. And Rick Ross took 50 Cent to court for putting a SEX tape on the internet. It was really big. Let me read this and then we'll go back to that. Gargo says, you and Sean go into the bedroom. You told him you went to Vegas. She said, yes. You told him you flashed your breasts. She said, not then. Gargos, you told him you referred Cabral, pardon me, to the other rapper. She said, not yet. She referred Cabral to the Vegas party. This is what I'm talking about. This is what irritates me. Okay. First of all, she didn't just all of a sudden found out there's a party in Vegas. Hey, let's go check it out. Girl, you were invited. Okay. You probably were paid for. You knew what you were there to do. That's what I'm saying. Like all of this innocence, they don't know that she's a prostitute. They think she's did a great job on the stand. What be wrong with people?
Well,
addicts lie every day and they get real damn good at it.
She referred him because I thought that would make Diddy happy. I referred him because I was forced. I referred him because I was in fear of my life.
Garrigle says, did Mr. Combs tell you at your, I don't know what they mean. How could you go to another man's freak off? ? She said, yes, he yelled that. Garrigos, Then you say Sean told you go out and F him, and you said no. She said, I said no. Then he pushed a pill in my face.
Okay.
I can't take it.
Okay, as if that's your first pill. You have mentioned times and times that you don't took them and ask for them for yourself. So stop being a Karen.
Karen alert.
Stop. I mean, look, the whole thing is this. Sharrell, it's a funny case. Now, we don't know how the jury gonna do this damn thing, but you're gonna have these people tomorrow, 10 years from now, that be biased and just focus on what they want the outcome to be. You know what I'm saying? Regardless. We talking about the justice system. They talking about their hatred for Diddy. And I respect, okay.
Garrigle says, but you didn't have sex with Anton, question mark. She said, not that kind of sex. Garrigle says, you gave Antoine oral. She said, yes. Oh my gosh. Then Sean dismissed him, and you told Anton you sent him money later. She said, I did.
Okay. I mean, she got a lip problem, lip service problem. Got to always have something in between. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. This girl.
No, and
is living foul. Y'all don't see that?
I mean, we go back to again. I thought that would make Diddy happy.
I
was
know.
to do it. I was in fear of my life.
That was my partner, my lover.
Mm-hmm. So for the people who want to keep at him like, yeah, we get it. Diddy's a monster. You got good judgment on that. But is he on trial? I mean, like, they have to prove the things, you know.
He says, this is Garagos. This was the first time you didn't have an intimate moment with your partner after the prostitute left. She said, yes. Garagos. And he said again, I can't believe you went to another man's freak off. Oh my God. She said, yes. Garagos, talking about that rapper, question mark. She said, yes. She's at Diddy's freak offs. She's at other people's freak offs. She studied getting money and homes and probably cars. And y'all talking about y'all believe her. Her lips are always where it shouldn't be. My goodness. Yeah, she called herself part of that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. So Cammie comes at me. She says, Perry, I feel bad for Diddy.
Oh.
Diddy is likable, charming, but facts are facts. Yes.
That's a troll, Perry. That's a troll. Stop answering that.
Oh, well, okay, my bad.
No. That's a troll.
Yeah, okay, let me move on.
Thank you for your comment. All right. I know. I don't know. I don't know.
You take a pill.
Maybe I grew up too fast. Maybe I was running the streets.
If you want to believe this girl's story, she was forced to go and do a freak off with some other rapper at his party. At what point, on occasions, you could say that you read pattern. This is Diddy's pattern, but you can't see nobody else's pattern. The 304 pattern.
Stop acting like you don't know what a 304 is. Come on, y'all. Y'all know the type. Some women are that damn money hungry. They'll take you around the corner. Here we go. We got an update. Garrico says, he just kept saying, how could you have gone to another rapper's freak off? Question mark. She said, yes. After that, you called and texted each other. She said, yes. You went to see him and broke up? Question mark. She said, we had 8 or 9 hours of breakup conversation. Cause now, just listen, y'all listen. Perry, you listen too.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a special arrangement with you that every time I see you, you know what I want you to do, right? I'm paying you $10,000 a month. I'm hooking you up.
Mm-hmm.
What's the need to go to Rick Ross Freak Off?
Well, the need would be to gain more cash. It's like, some people work at a company and they're going to get a part-time job for more money. She got a stable job, $10,000 a month, doing what she got to do. Then she go off to do another one.
She's getting money from other rappers. She's going to other freak offs. She's got Diddy on lock because he's foolish enough to pay $10,000 a month, even though that's nothing to him. She's getting money from 50 Cent, her $6,000 that you got demoted. He probably caught your ass doing something like this and went from 30 to 6. We also you're getting money from OnlyFans and you're getting money from IG. Girl, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
I feel sorry for her son. You are a mother. You're probably on all kind of tapes. It's just sad.
And she's sort of like, work is one thing, but she seemed to take pleasure, and she might be a nympho also.
Oh, yeah. She said her vajayjay would hurt. I don't know. I don't understand. You're getting money everywhere. When is enough enough? Especially like you said, this is what she said, you keep a babysitter on call.
And
you
then
should
somebody
be spending time with your child instead of giving everybody lip service.
Somebody said when you go to Rick Ross Freak Off or whoever it was, the other rapper, that it was to upset Diddy. So it's just playing these games. You want somebody to fight for you. And that's a pattern too. Cassie would take off and sleep with a couple of men too. But she was so in fear of her life. Come on, people. Get a thing. They all was addicts. They all were using each other. Nobody's taking Diddy off the list, but you want to take everybody else off the list but Diddy. They all used each other.
And I'm surprised nobody OD'd. That's crazy. They put everything in their body. Everything. We've named every drug there was except crack. And that's because crack has a stigma that is for poor people.
Sister Sip TV says network. So they all was networking. That's pretty much what it was. You're famous. I want to be seen with famous people. I want to be around and hit these parties to get to know other celebrities. Everybody got something out of it. Diddy got the little P flicks he wanted.
Somebody said you got to be high to sleep with Rick Ross. He just freaks me out. Like I don't know. I don't want. He just. She had to climb. I hate to say it. I'm not the only one saying it, but child, this is a mess. They tried to throw us off and said, "Oh, his wife was there." It's not Kanye. I don't think Kim Kardashian would do this. You guys think she would? I don't think she would beat anybody's while she's married with kids. I really don't. I could be wrong. I don't think Kim K would be into the freak off. You guys let me.
No, I don't think so neither. We could think whatever you want to think about it, but could be wrong. I think that she will make her own flicks and private with her own person that she's with or wanting to be with at the time. But I don't think she's gonna go there to watch this 304 get it on with somebody. I just don't.
I'm gonna put it in the chat.
And you get an update too.
Okay.
That's crazy, man.
Now, I don't think Kim would go to a freak off.
No. I don't think so. And I know damn well.
Damn, I did the wrong one again. Hold on, let me read the update. Garagos, you saw him traveling with another woman in Wyoming. Well, we know that Kanye used to live in Wyoming. Maybe it was Kanye. Let me do it again. You saw him traveling with another woman in Wyoming and it upset you. She says, I was at home with a black eye. Garagos, you hadn't had forced intercourse with Anton? She said, it was forced oral. Okay. Listen, you guys, now I see what you're talking. I don't know if it's Kanye. But he's the only person that we know that's an icon that lives in what they call it, Wyoming. I don't think nobody in their right mind would even drive through Wyoming.
Right. I mean, but I think they was referring to Diddy was with some other girl in Wyoming. And who are they speculating that girl was? Do you know? Oh, I don't know. Oh. Yeah, I don't know neither. It's freaky.
Come on, y'all. We got to get to the bottom of who this rapper is. So far, everybody's saying it's Rick Ross. I can't imagine. Ugh. But now Kanye lives in Wyoming. Does he still have a house there? He's lived in that weird ass.
He had that ranch, didn't he? Yeah, a big old ranch there.
He had a big old ranch. Y'all could see Kim K at the freak offs. Oh.
Oh, Lord.
Y'all can? What? Wait, what? Oh my goodness. 63% said they could see Kim K at the freak offs.
Damn, maybe my judgment off.
What? Oh my good. Y'all can see Kim K at the freak offs. I know there's a rumor they were supposed to be at the freak offs, but I just thought it was that a rumor. Are you? Oh, okay. Well, all right. Then we're gonna say it was Kanye. Ew. Who would be with Kanye though? He's not bad looking as a guy. He's weird. But Kim K did say that Kanye had a drug problem. She said he had a real bad drug problem. Let's take another poll. We just got to ask straight out. Is the rapper, I'm just going to say it, is the rapper Kanye West? Is the rapper no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know, he changed his name.
And then when you finish, update too.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Garrett goes, play a video, not for the public to hear. Then in brackets, it says, they have on headphones, we hear nothing. Garrett goes, I will read his response. Mr. Combs says, I'm not going to belittle myself for someone named Bear or for my friend. That means the rapper, right? So they call the rapper Bear. She said, yes. Let's get back to these polls.
Yeah, if they calling them Bear.
Oh, Perry.
Could it be Rick Ross?
I said, is the rapper Kanye? 71% said yes. We know Kanye's an addict. Kim Kardashian outed him for being an addict. We know he likes crazy sex just because he let his wife be nude on the red carpet. Do you remember that? On the red carpet. He said he was looking for a threesome for him and Amber when they were together.
Wow.
Kanye's the freak?
Maybe.
Lord, I think you're right. I withdraw my Rick Ross comp. Withdraw my Rick Ross comments. It was definitely Kanye because they also said
he got a private jet. I mean, did he have a private jet?
He can have whatever he wants. He's Kanye.
No. I'm saying, remember, she had flew out with somebody in a private jet to Vegas. Kanye like Vegas too.
Hold on, I got an update. Mr. Combs wrote, sorry, I didn't take you. Pardon me. Sorry, I didn't take you on the trips. I was tripping. The baby daddy you and KK would have talked yourself into. No, I'm going to read that again. Mr. Combs wrote, sorry, I didn't take you on the trips. I was tripping. The baby daddy, 50 Cent, you and KK would have talked yourself into paranoia. You didn't get along with KK. She says, I didn't. Garrett goes, put on your headphones and press play. And then it says, we hear nothing. Listen, y'all. This is just like we found out who Daphne was. We knew that Jane was a pseudonym, and then we start putting things together. We just put together it's Kanye West, an icon. Rick Ross, although very wealthy, is nobody's icon. Second of all, no one's trying to freak off on Rick Ross. Kanye is into all kind of drugs, they say, and indulges in them every day. He likes group sex. They are talking about Kanye. And if they're talking about Kanye, then they're talking about Kim Kardashian. And so those rumors that we've been hearing must be true.
Yeah.
Name one other Black icon that lives in Wyoming. That's what did it for me, the Wyoming. And then the chat voting 73%.
They also said with his wife, right?
Yeah, with Kim.
And Rick Ross ain't never been married, is it?
No, I don't know. I really don't like Rick Ross a lot.
I almost think they dangle it out there that he just used them to think they're gonna get married, then he get rid of them.
Now there are rumors out there about Kim K and maybe Chloe and these freak-offs. They mentioned them on the show. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
They were at, Chloe said she was at a party and everybody was naked at a Diddy party.
Damn.
What are we gonna do with Kanye? He's our crazy little genius. No, or do we pull back the genius card from Kanye? Like, you haven't been making much music lately. You've been known as a weirdo. You've been doing weird things, letting your wife walk around in a G-string. Here we go. That's not. Okay, here we go. It says a court staffer hands Jane headphones and they start. Combs is leaning over, listening to the same headphones as Agnafello. Garrigo says, pause there. She said, you bring up OnlyFans there, dash. You've been on it for 4 to 5 months, earning well, right? She said, yes. Now listen, we know that OnlyFans is the modern corn. They go all the way on OnlyFans. These women, if depending on, I don't know how good your game is, can really make up a lot of money. I think it was Bad Barbie that she made 12 million off of OnlyFans. They're making money.
Yeah.
Money. But it's prostitution. It's CORN. It's I wouldn't even tell anybody that. It's Kim K. That's weird. Jane was going to the parties for networking, building her portfolio, trying to meet the millionaires.
Herb, the data is clear. You'll drive a new Kia for less at Fort Wayne Kia. It's easy to calculate. Our charts and graphs prove it. Applied logic dictates it doesn't take a scholar to save $1.
Save with low-rate financing across the Kia lineup, like 1.9 APR for 60 months with 0 down on Sportage or Sorrento.
See Fort Wayne Kia now in our giant brand new showroom on Illinois Road. Or always online at fortwaynekia.com.
At Penn Station, your ears may hear, and your craving deep down inside hears.
Penn Station's cheesesteak is grilled to order with 100% USDA choice steak and sauteed veggies piled high on that legendary bread topped with aged provolone and served melty and hot straight from the oven.
So when you hear, your craving knows.
Time for Penn Station. And don't forget the fresh cut fries.
Penn Station.
Love your sub.
On his head. So weird. He's talking about loving Hitler. Something wrong with Kanye. Here we go. We got an update. Garrigo says, you asked him why couldn't he balance it? hotel nights, and private travel, right? She says, right. Gary goes, you wrote, did the other girls just pressure you more for trips and I didn't? I just want to know where I went wrong. Girl, she is pleading him to be the main chick. He's not going to take you, okay? Florida has come to town. Young Miami is in the building. You do not exist anymore. Gary goes, you asked him. Oh, I read that before. I can't believe you. Let me be the main chick, please. Let me be the main chick, please. I mean, you could probably have him after this testimony because this testimony was strictly for the defense. It didn't help the prosecution at all. Go ahead, be the main chick until he gets out, and he goes over to Carisha's house.
Damn.
It's a mess.
Well, I think when they brought up the OnlyFans thing, because I do try to listen to some of these other attorneys and just see how they break down this RICO stuff and different things. It's like they got a certain title, arson or whatever. They have some conditions they got to meet. Some of them, I think, is coercion. So I think when they were saying that if you got somebody that's really broke, then by you threatening them, paying their bills and stuff, that could be a form of coercion, right?
Uh-huh.
But if the person got money, they can't use that to say coercion because obviously you wasn't in fear for your shit getting paid if you was making money. Or it was something to that effect, something like that.
I don't know what's going on. My chat has frozen, but I could see on the other, when I go to the other screen, and someone called her a pick me bottom B. Oh my. I don't know what's going on with my chat. It's not moving on my maiden page. It's going on the second page. So I can't read you guys' comments. I don't know what's going on with my Kim K. Girl. Is Kim K, we got another question. I don't even know if I should put this out there. But is Kim K a pass around?
Not like if I had to say a pass around, it wouldn't be like Jane.
Yeah,
not that. I mean, but I think she only gonna date men that's wealthy. So it's a smaller group. So of course you passing around, you'll go from say Beverly Hills to what's that other expensive place in LA? Like you just bounce around like that.
We got an update. Garrigo says, Mr. Combs said, that is my friend. I was okay where we should stop. Now press play and stop. No sound in the public gallery. So he's saying that's my friend. Is Diddy known to be friends with Kanye West? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yes. I have to tell you something. Let me read this. Oh, my gosh. Garrigo says, you said we broke up and I went to one birthday party, not with the rapper, but with my friend. Okay, so Kanye came out, I believe it was today or yesterday. He went off on Kid Cudi. He said that Diddy is innocent and that Kid Cudi was tripping by coming and testifying against Diddy. This is Kanye West. We did it again. Thank you, chat. This is Kanye West.
Sharrell, I don't know what's going on with maybe a StreamYard then, because when I go to my phone, your chat is moving. But
yeah, it's me. Maybe I gotta come out and go back in.
No, mine not moving either.
Yours not moving either?
Uh-uh.
Let's do it one at a time. I'm going out. You want to go out first?
Yeah, I'll go out first.
Okay. Y'all, it's Kanye West. Here we got an update. Garrigo says, you wrote, I don't even have anything postable. You meant Instagram? She said, I did. Garrigo, you wrote about your child's father. You said, I'm in my late 30s. I don't have time to play more video. So now that we figured out who it is, it's Kanye West. Oh my